Let's go. Let's hit them all now while we got the muscle.
0.0.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Now.
Oh, my God.
You beat Ohio State last year.
Oh, my God.
Do you have the same drive to beat them this year?
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
I can't even think about it. I'm jumping out of my skin over that possibility.
The Rich Eisen Show. Today's guests, ESPN NFL analyst Robert Griffin III, 49ers general manager John Lynch, ESPN host and broadcaster Chris Fowler. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Well, yes, it is. Welcome to this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. It is, in fact, September the 1st. We have reached the month, finally, in which the National Football League 2022 season will begin. It will begin 1 week from tonight, right here in Los Angeles, California, which is right now 1 billion degrees. So we're here on a hot day in September, and a hot day on the show, figuratively, literally. Good to see everybody right here on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. It is also the month in which this show will, at some point, and we will give you a date once that is in fact certain, this show will start streaming on the Roku channel for free this very month. Roku devices. Everybody's got the Roku channel for free if you've got a Roku device on a smart TV from Samsung. It is free. It is free on an Amazon Fire TV. The Roku channel is also available on the Roku app, which can be downloaded for free and be watched for free. The RokuChannel.com is also on your desktop or laptop. That's free there as well. The keyword is free, as is today's program, right here on our YouTube stream or this Rich Eisen Show terrestrial radio affiliate or on Odyssey. We say hello to everybody who downloads this in a podcast form through the Cumulus Podcast Network. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial here on this very busy day. Good to see you over there, Christopher.
Rich, what's up?
Good to see you. You're all buttoned up. You're all buttoned up. You were unbuttoned. You were unbuttoned like Elliot Gould in Ocean's 11 for the pre-show. And now that we're on, the air, very good.
That's how I drive to work in the morning.
Good to see you over there. Mike Del Tufo's back in his chair. Hey. Don't blink. He's not here tomorrow, apparently.
I mean, one night only.
All right. And TJ Jefferson, good to see you over there.
So basically, you're saying it was free earlier? That's what I'm saying. It was free. Like that, 0 plus 0 equals 0.
That is correct. That's the way it goes. Good to see you over there.
Same to you.
You know what's not free? Russell Wilson's quarterbacking services. That comes with a price tag.
Cha-ching. Let's ride.
I love it. You're all Russell Wilson now that you drafted him in your fantasy league.
Yeah.
As of a few days ago, before you drafted him, you could care less. Although you have been high on the Denver Broncos ever since he was acquired by the Denver Broncos.
Absolutely.
It was essentially the first major shot fired of the non-playing season in March, way back in the day. Way back in the day, in the hell-going-on month of March, where everything broke loose and all sorts of craziness happened in free agency. The acquisition by the Broncos of Russell Wilson was highly expected. Russell Wilson's trade was highly expected out of Seattle, and it arrived, and it happened in Denver on the same day, by the way, that the Seattle Seahawks also wound up releasing Bobby Wagner. It was a dark day for the 12s that day, but a bright, sunny day in Broncos country. And now Russell Wilson will enter his first game as a Denver Bronco. He was already a very rich man and a very wealthy man, both in treasure as well as life. He enters his first game as a Denver Bronco with a new 5-year contract extension worth $245 million. That keeps him signed through the 2028 season with the Denver Broncos. 7 seasons, in case you need to do the math. He is currently a 33-year-old man who will turn 34 in November. So, Russ, it looks like you could say, and I'm seeing this in articles as well, he will finish his career as a Denver Bronco, unless he wants to do what Aaron Rodgers appears to be doing and what Tom Brady has done, play into his 40s, which means a guy who has already gotten multiple new contracts and just got another one. I mean, if he wants it, he could play into his 40s and get yet more money, and he is ready to roll. Let's ride, as he says, in Denver. And no less over the next 7 years, no less than a Super Bowl. Will this be considered the ultimate success? Obviously, that's the ultimate success. But he clearly has landed in a new spot where he is loved, and he has been showered with a remarkable contract, and also has a bunch of young players around him that we will now see. This has been the conversation all non-playing season, but now that he has been pizzed and is the second highest paid player on an annual basis in the NFL, just a few $100,000 behind Aaron Rodgers, $50.3 million. Now it's all on Russ's shoulders to see how he can shoulder the burden in a new spot with a whole bunch of new players in a system that clearly is being based around him. The concept of him being allowed to cook is over. It's his kitchen, it's his ingredients, it's his shopping list, it's his world. It's his Instacart, it's his Uber Eats, whatever you want to call it. This is his world. He has now been acquired by a team that is going to let him cook in the manner in which he wants. Everything has been set up for him. And now we see how he will ride in Denver. And it will be a remarkable feeling for him on the first Monday night of the season when he is in a Bronco uniform for a game that counts for the first time, and he will be in the visitors' locker room of the place where he built his legend in Seattle. What a spot. And he will go in feeling great about his new spot. And, I mean, I don't know if he's going to have the same feeling as Baker Mayfield says he kind of has, but didn't really say he has about effing up his former team. I mean, Russ is going in with the fullest of the headest of steams, and I can't wait to watch it because it's a division that, you know, a remarkable concept. If you remember when Aaron Rodgers apparently wanted out of Green Bay, and the idea was, why would he want to go to the division where Patrick Mahomes lives when he can just dominate the North and where he's going to stay for the rest of his career? And Russ has the assignment of going into the deepest end of the NFL pool in the AFC West, and I still think this is the Raiders division. I know this is raining on a Broncos parade, but I still think this is the Raiders division, despite their offensive line concerns. because there's still a lot for Russell Wilson to put together. And if he can put it together this year, after getting the trade from Seattle that clearly he's been wanting for a while, and landing in a spot that generationally enriches him again to the tune of almost $50 million a year. And if he's able to put it all together like that, it would be similar. Not exact, because the Super Bowl's not in Denver, and he's also not 43 years old. It would be just like Tom Brady leaving a spot where he left after a very long time to go to a new spot, a new place, learn a new way of life with a new cast and a new coach, and go ahead and tell the fan base, I'm here. Guess what? That's a Lombardi. That would be a remarkable run for Russell Wilson, and it's right there for the Denver Broncos, and I can't wait to watch it play out. One other thing to point out about this contract. Yes, it is for $245 million. That's a lot of money. That's 10 more than the Deshaun Watson contract. 15 more, as a matter of fact.
15 more.
15 more. But it's $165 million guaranteed, which means that we have now seen not one, two contracts signed by top-notch elite quarterbacks, as many people believe Russell Wilson, and yes, Kyler Murray, despite his late season struggles and still no playoff wins. It's still a fantasy football world, and people ascribe to Kyler Murray elite status. That's now two contracts that have been signed by top-notch quarterbacks with huge price tags to it that are not fully guaranteed, like the Cleveland Browns gave to Deshaun Watson. How will that play out with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson? Because in the same way that Russ is going into the season, well, my contract's taken care of. I know where I am the rest of my career. I know where my family's going to be sitting the rest of my career. I know how I'm going to enter this season with a clear mind and a full heart and can't lose. Lamar Jackson has a different drum beat. I understand. He can still go into the season and still dominate without a new contract. But how is that going to play out? Because that's not one but two contracts now, where the NFL is saying, or two teams in the NFL is saying, yeah, that deal that the Haslams gave Deshaun Watson, we're not doing that. And two top-notch quarterbacks saying, okay. Kyler Murray with $189.5 million in guaranteed money. $165 million of it guaranteed to Russ. And Russ is like, okay, that's good enough for me. And I already saw on Twitter some agents or an ad agent saying, you know, there'll be that's leaving money on the table that the rest of the league appreciates in the front offices, but other players will be like, what's up with that? As if Tom Brady never took a hometown discount his entire career. Hey. And I know agents might be pissed off that the Haslams did something and now the good times are going to roll for everybody else. But guess what? Haslams did it. And the rest of the league is like, they're ridiculous. We're not doing that. And two top-notch quarterbacks have said, okay. And just when we thought, remember Kirk Cousins signed for all that guaranteed money in Minnesota, or like every other contract is going to be fully guaranteed, and we haven't seen that. We didn't see that. That was the outlier. Maybe, just maybe, the Haslams are sitting out there on an island with their guy on an 11-game suspension, I might add, and a non-told contract, sitting there with the first of his seasons in Cleveland potentially broken. We'll see how it plays out. But I found that very interesting. And it's a new ownership. They came straight off the Walmart truck into Denver. And even they understand what the rules of the business that they've chosen in the new organization membership that they have gained in the National Football League. Yeah, okay, so let's just take a look at all the way things have been done here. Hey, Russ.
They could have easily scratched 231, 232,
George
just to make it a little bit more.
Peyton's still the general manager there, okay? he's a football guy that's been there through different ownership reigns, but the owners could be like, the Walmarts could be like, so the Haslams guaranteed all that money. Well, just do that for us, because we'll just, wait a minute, let me look under the cushion here. Yeah, there it is. Here's that money. We'll just do that. Oh, yeah. These people could scratch that escrow check in 2 seconds, that escrow check. They got the money.
They just don't know how to pronounce the commissioner's name.
Yes, right. Yes, they would call up Commissioner Goodell and say, "Hey,
Ralph Goodell,
Commissioner Goodell, I know you might not be happy with us, but," and he'd be like, "Okay, I'm just the commissioner here.
I work for you.
Go ahead and Google the way you can pronounce Goodell." Commissioner Google. I really thought like he was asking his device next to him. How do you pronounce the commissioner's name? Hey, Goodle. But yes, the Broncos are new. The Walmart family, the Waltons, the family is new to this thing, and even they get it. You don't have to guarantee all the money to the contract of your generationally talented and generationally enriched quarterback, and he'll eventually say yes. Good enough for me.
Uber wealthy people do tend to be a bit stingy, right? So.
The Ravens now are on the clock. And Bisciotti once told Flacco, show me and then put the bag on the desk and I'll pay it. And he did it. And the trophy is in the case from that Super Bowl in New Orleans against the Niners.
The lights went
and Lamar's now on the clock. So the Ravens can basically say, hey, I know you've won it all guaranteed. And we're assuming that's what the holdup is. He can also say, the Broncos offered $245, $165 guaranteed. That could be what the Ravens are saying. And Russ has a Super Bowl win and 2 appearances there. So the way the contract was paid out or laid out and then will be paid out is of interest. Because I thought the minute that Watson got all his money guaranteed with 24 civil suits hanging over him, meant every other quarterback's going to ask for the same thing and get the same thing. And Arizona paid Murray how they paid him. And now the Denver Broncos are paying Russ how they're paying him. And it ain't the way that the Cleveland Browns are paying their guy. They got to also be sitting back there saying, I guess that escrow check is because he wasn't coming to us unless we guaranteed every dollar. So maybe the staring at the Haslams with daggers by other teams might be less than now because the Broncos and the Cardinals have struck a blow in favor of management. We'll see what happens when the Chargers and the Bengals are on the clock after this playing season for Herbert and Burrow. But for the moment, it's now the Ravens who are on the clock with their guy, Lamar Jackson, and we'll see how this contract sets everything up. Our show is set up this way. RG3 is going to join us in just a few minutes' time. He's now part of Monday Night Countdown on the worldwide leader in sports. The 2011 Heisman Trophy winner. Also, we'll talk college football with him as well as our third-hour guest. What a week. This is like a Nance-like week for our buddy Chris Fowler.
Big time
Who's
week.
called not one but 2 victorious Serena Williams U.S. Open matches, including last night over the second-ranked player in the world, Annette Kontaveit.
That was awesome last night.
The Estonian bounced in 3 sets by Serena on the Ash Stadium court.
With everybody there. Tiger was fist pumping. It was awesome.
And Chris Fowler in the booth, and Serena's next match, third-round match, is Friday. Saturday, Chris will be calling Notre Dame at The Ohio State. So that's a heck of a week for Fowler. And then I guess if Serena advances on Sunday, he'll go from Columbus to Queens. From the Horseshoe to Flushing Meadows.
Hey, we can only hope.
So, so that'll be a great chat in hour number 3. And in between, the general manager of the San Francisco 49ers, the man who came up with the deal along with Kyle Shanahan to get Jimmy Garoppolo to say as a backup quarterback to Trey Lance, John Lynch will be on this program. TJ Jefferson has the trumpets sounding in his head as Jacob deGrom and the Mets beat the Dodgers last night in a terrific baseball game in Queens.
Timmy Trumpet set the tone last night.
My Yankees here in Anaheim had a series win all set up until Garrett Cole decides to pitch to Shohei Ohtani with 2 men on, and a 3-run jack gives Ohtani 30 on the season, and the Yankees now are just 6 games up on the Tampa Bay Rays, 5 in the loss going into Tampa to start September.
That was a bomb Ohtani hit last night.
6 games up.
And he knew it.
I've got a few things to say about that conversation. And there's you at 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We'll take a break. RG3, Robert Griffin III from the worldwide leader in sports. When we come back on the Rich Eisen Show.
Throw deep, baby.
Peso Roblos. Pula Viati.
Are you, when you're playing those drops during our break on YouTube, are they hearing it?
Yes.
Are they
hearing this?
Yeah, they're hearing it.
I didn't know they were hearing
Which
it.
one was that? That's the offensive lineman of the Eagles?
Pula Viati.
I mean, Rich.
That guy was on the Eagles, right?
Hala Puli Vaati Vaitai.
I mean, you had it dead on.
Well, what was so wrong what I said?
Hang on.
No.
Hala Pula Viati.
I mean, then Rich.
Hala Puli Vaati Vaitai. Yes.
I mean, Rich is
It's
like.
basically the same.
Well, I'm a lead pipe wielding professional, and
That's
he's
true.
He's somebody who buttons his shirt up right before the show.
Award winner.
You are an award winner.
Yeah.
You are. And the Brockman's Burning Questions.
3-time Emmy nominee. Like, come on.
That's true.
Two here, one at game day morning.
3-time. That's right. Right here, 2 here, 1 at game day morning.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the only year I worked on game day morning, Emmy nomination. I don't know what.
I think
Marshall was spot on that year. You were a segment producer.
Factor, Brock.
I was a factor.
That one year you were Marshall Falk segment producer.
I'm just saying I was a factor.
Having a front row seat to the smartest guy in the history of football.
And just the Saturday meetings.
Did you say you were a
Did you
factor?
attend all those?
Yeah, I was a factor.
Did you have to go to those meetings?
Oh, they were great. The Saturday meeting
Of course,
was the
because
best.
they had a free buffet. You had lunch.
Well, Marshall would
right.
sometimes bring us in food.
Oh, yeah, he brought his own, right?
Yeah, he would bring us like patty
Let me
melts.
tell you, nothing like
Watching
Michael
the game.
Irvin would eat 3 plates of food. And on Thursday Night Football, watching him eat was one of Deion Sanders' favorite pastimes. He would look at me,
very impressive,
and he would just keep eating. So you know what Deion called it? Prison break. That was his joke. He would look at me, and goes, "Prison break's just is on right now."
Like they were filming Longest Yard again.
And then Michael would say, "I'm a one of 15 kids. When the food would come to the table, we had to eat fast because you didn't know if somebody else would eat it." This is the stuff, man, that I had a front row seat for. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show terrestrial radio outfit, as well as Odyssey and YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Love this guy, and thrilled to see what is going on with his career at the worldwide leader in sports. He is the newest member of their Monday Night Football NFL Countdown gang, so you can watch him prior to every Monday Night Football game, halftime, and post-game show with Joe Buck and Aikman in the booth and the Manning brothers when they're doing their thing on ESPN2. Monday night is a festival and the worldwide leader in sports. And joining us on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line is ESPN analyst and the 2011 Heisman Trophy winner and the number 2 overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft. Friend of the program, Robert Griffin III. How you doing, RG3?
Rich, I'm doing great, man, and happy to be back on with you. And I know we wanted that Run Rich Run event to get me back in the NFL, but it looks like it ran me all the way to Monday Night Countdown.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. It works. It's everything is working for you, and I couldn't be happier for you, Robert. And you know you're terrific at what you do, and it's part of the reason why I have you on here as well. Is your insight makes me and my colleagues here and my audience smarter. So let's just jump in with the news of the Russell Wilson contract and what you think of that, Robert Griffin III. Go for it.
Yeah, Rich, my first thoughts are it's deserved, right? He deserved to get a new contract, 113 wins in his first 10 years, most by any quarterback in the first 10 years of their career. He's a Super Bowl champ, right? He's a great ambassador off the field. And I think for the Broncos, they needed a quarterback that gave them instant credibility and hope. And I think you get all of those things with Russell Wilson. My only negative takeaway from the contract is that it wasn't fully guaranteed. And after Deshaun Watson got the $230 million fully guaranteed with everything that he had going on off the field, I felt like the guys at the top, the Aaron Rodgerses, the Russell Wilsons, they should have pushed to get those deals fully guaranteed, so that guys after them don't have to fight that same battle that players have been fighting for 10, 20 years trying to get fully guaranteed contracts.
So you think they have left not just money on the table, but colleagues on the contractual battlefield? Is that what you're saying, Robert?
Yes, because everyone's pointing to Lamar Jackson, right? You see the Russell Wilson deal, and you're like, all right, well, he took less guaranteed money than Kyler Murray did. He definitely took less money guaranteed than Deshaun Watson got. So how does that put Lamar Jackson in a boat all by himself fighting for a fully guaranteed deal? The way I look at it, Russell probably wanted to have a few years there where he can come back to the negotiating table. That's also a part of this. But I don't think it has that much of an impact on Lamar Jackson per se, because Lamar's in a field of his own, right? Unanimous MVP. Only other unanimous MVP is Tom Brady. He's a trailblazer. He plays the game different, sees the game different. I hope he gets that fully guaranteed deal that he's seeking. But for all the guys outside of Lamar that are going to be coming up with these new contracts, the Burrows, the Herberts, those guys are now fending for themselves, hoping that Lamar gets a deal before the season starts, so that they're not going into negotiations next year knowing that they're not going to get a fully guaranteed deal.
Well, I guess, the question is why, Brady left money on the table year in and year out, right? That the cap was always on his mind to make sure that he got a championship team giving hometown discounts to the Patriots year after year after year. So, I mean, I guess Russ isn't the first one to leave money on the table to the detriment technically to others at the position negotiating. And so I guess why shouldn't Russ just look out for number 3 is what I'm pushing back on that conversation, Robert.
Yeah, Rich, I would put it this way. If Russ was only looking out for number 3, then he would have taken a fully guaranteed deal. Brady left money on the table for years and years and years, but there's a couple factors in that as well. Brady had already been paid, right? He already got his big, massive deal. So he knew at that point, listen, $30 million is a lot of money, guys. But he's saying that $30 million can go towards other players because I've already made my money as a player. So I want to have championship teams because I'm chasing rings. These younger players, like a Lamar Jackson, like a Joe Burrow, like a Justin Herbert, they haven't been paid yet, right? They haven't been paid that big, massive lump sum salary. So they're all looking to take care of themselves and the future generations in their family after them. Russell's not in that situation, so I can understand why he would take less money or not go for a fully guaranteed deal because he is getting $49 million a year, right? Like, he's getting a lot of money. But he didn't go for the fully guaranteed deal, maybe because he was trying to help the rest of the roster, maybe because he was trying to come back to the negotiating table after 3 years when the guaranteed money is up. But the bottom line is Russell's already had a massive contract before. He's not hurting for any money. And both Russell Wilson and Tom Brady are married to very rich women. Giselle makes more money than Tom Brady does, and Sierra, I don't know if she makes more than Russell, but she makes a lot of money, so that also plays.
Robert Griffin III, just laying it all out there for everybody right here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think is going through Trey Lance's mind right now, RG3?
Well, I'm hoping Trey Lance is just focusing on what he can control because in this situation, I feel like the 49ers did what was best for them, right? Having a guy that led you to the Super Bowl, I know everyone says he didn't lead them there. He was just on the team. But he was the quarterback, guys. He led them to the Super Bowl, and now having him as your backup, that's great insurance, right? That makes the coaches feel confident, makes the players in the locker room feel confident. If anything happens to Trey Lance, you got a guy that's already been there, done that, didn't win the Super Bowl, but got you there. That gives them a sense of confidence. For Jimmy Garoppolo, he did the best thing for himself, right? There were no starting spots out there, or at least no teams wanted him to be their starter. And if he had gotten cut, my understanding is that he wouldn't have made any money. So he's making more money by getting a restructure, and he's getting more money than he would have gotten on the open market as a backup with incentives to play. So for Jimmy G, it makes complete sense. But obviously, I think this wasn't the best thing for Trey Lance. You know, the best thing for him would be for Jimmy to be off the team because the media is undoubtedly going to talk about Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo if he started struggling. But if Jimmy wasn't there, it would just be like maybe they should have kept him. Now Jimmy's there. So if he struggles at any point throughout the season, the media narrative is going to be that they need to play Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't think that's fair to Trey Lance, but as we all know, life isn't fair. But this isn't an ideal situation for Trey Lance going into his first year as a starter.
Well, as you know, the management and the coaching staff of the 49ers would be, well, we could just keep all the noise out. We'll just create the vacuum here, and as long as Trey understands we have a very high threshold for whatever struggles he might put on the field, then we'll all be fine. So I ask you, RG3, how realistic is that in the 21st century? You walk me through your experiences on trying to block out a lot of noise that no doubt was surrounding you in your playing days, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a coach or a GM, it's your job to say those things because you're just trying to let your quarterback know that you got his back. You're trying to let your locker room know, like, this is the way we're doing things. But in our 24/7 or 27/7 news hour cycle, that's not going to work, right? Because the team is constantly going to be hearing these things from the media. The players are going to be constantly hearing these things from the media. The coaches are going to be as well. I mean, I had a coach when I was in the league that had a big old stack of papers on his desk every single day that was every article written about the team or the coaches. So these coaches pay attention to this stuff, and it affects their decision making. I got a lot of respect for John Lynch, and I know he's had a lot of success throughout his career. But this is a situation that it was best for the team because you want that backup. but it wasn't the best thing for your starting quarterback. And whether they admit that or not, at the end of the day, they got 2 starters on the roster, and they're going to have to deal with a lot of heat if they struggle. I don't think Trey Lance will have catastrophic struggles, but he's going to have a game or two where it's just not the prettiest thing in the world because he's going through some growing pains. I hope that doesn't turn into a media firestorm to get Jimmy Garoppolo back in there.
Wait a minute. There was a coach who had like a clip service, and there was clips on his desk, like newspaper clippings, stuff like that?
100%. Every internet article, online. Rich, if you said something, I promise you it was on there.
Wow. Well, you also know the Shanahans too, don't you? And the offense and maybe their philosophy. I imagine Dad has instilled it in the son, who was obviously not an HC when you were around them. How is this going to work for Lance? Do you think he's set up with everything to avoid the struggles that might open the door to all this craziness that we're talking about right now?
Yeah, actually, I've listened to what Kyle Shanahan had to say over the past couple months, and I think he's done the best job he can to let Trey Lance and the team and the media know that this is Trey's team. So when you look at it that way and you look at the weapons that they have on the offensive side of the ball, I do think Trey Lance is set up to succeed. You know, to me, I think he'll have the biggest jump of all the second-year players. When you have a guy like George Kittle, who's on a Hall of Fame track, and you got Deebo Samuel, probably one of the most versatile offensive weapons in the league, that puts you in a great spot. Then you look at his protection. Yes, they lost some guys up front, but his left tackle is Trent Williams. And he was my teammate in Washington, and that guy, he calls himself a silverback. He's the kind of guy you want going to the club with you because he's going to protect you at all costs. He is a dominant football player. And I just look at what they did last year, leading the league in yards per play with Jimmy Garoppolo making the right decisions. Now you bring in Trey Lance, and he's going to give you a couple 20, 30-yard runs per game that's going to blow up your offense even more, and he's got the arm strength to stretch the field. So I do see that there will be some games or some moments where he struggles, but I think he is set up offensively and defensively. They got a top-5 defense. They might have the best defense in the league. So I think that's a great situation to jump into when you're a starting quarterback. The roster that he has around him is 10 times better than any roster I ever had in my career when I was playing the quarterback position. So I don't feel sorry for him there, but he is young. He hasn't played in a really long time or significant snaps in a really long time. So this is going to be a true first experience for him. He's basically a rookie.
RG3 here on the Rich Eisen Show. Who's your sleeper team of 2022? Who are you overlooking?
Sleeper team that people are overlooking, I'd have to go with the Miami Dolphins, right? With the Eagles coming in a close second. I just don't think people are overlooking the Eagles anymore after they made all the trades that they did this offseason and brought in the guys they did. But I look at Tua Tagovailoa, and I say this is his opportunity with Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson. You got Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds. I mean, they've done an incredible job, Mike McDaniel down there, bringing in talent to allow Tua to put his best foot forward. And if he doesn't, they'll go get a guy next year in the draft, whether it's C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, or a litany of other quarterbacks that'll be coming out next year. But I look at the Dolphins and I just say, man, the Patriots right now, everybody thinks they're vulnerable. You got the Bills in that division. But the Dolphins almost made the playoffs last year without all of these guys on their roster right now. So it's just a matter of their chemistry throughout the year. But that would be my sleeper pick. And I think Philly's going to surprise some people as well. I think now the momentum is more so shifting to them as being a Super Bowl contender. But earlier in the offseason, it wasn't that way, and I was already singing their praises. And I think Jalen Hurts he's a natural-born leader. He's a guy that overcomes everything that's ever put in front of him. And I think he's going to showcase how much he's grown this year.
And then which team are you concerned about entering 2022? Which one do you think?
Oh, man. The team I'm concerned about?
Yeah.
Wow. Let's I'm gonna say 2 teams, and I'll make it quick.
I'm go for it.
Washington. I'm concerned about Washington because earlier in the offseason, I thought that they would be a contender, but it was contingent on their defense, not Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz plays like he did last year, Washington will be in the playoff hunt. But their defense, they really struggle on third down. You know, I said this on national TV that if in the preseason and last year, if third down was the money down, then Washington would be broke. They cannot get off the field for whatever reason. They got 4 first-rounders on their defensive line, and for some odd reason, they can't get teams off the field. Last year, they were 32nd in the league on third down. So if they don't fix that, that concerns me a little bit in the NFC East. And then with the Bucs, it's not about Brady. You never doubt Brady. This guy is unbelievable. But I'm just a little concerned about their offensive line. All the injuries, all the guys that have left. Brady left in the middle of the training camp and then decided to come back. Like, he's got a lot of, as he said, he's got a lot of ish going on in his life. He's 45. So that concerns me a little bit, but I'm not willing to truly pick against the Bucs. But what's going on in Washington is really concerning.
What about Dallas? What about the Cowboys, Robert? Concerned, or you think they got the division in their sights again and should be the favorites there? What about them?
I don't think Dallas wins their division. I think Philly wins that division.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about concerns for Dallas, obviously the receiver room is a massive concern because they just don't have a lot of production there. Right? You got CeeDee Lamb, who's going to be a number one, and I think he will be a true number one. But behind him, they've got a bunch of injuries. So, hey, if you're a Cowboy fan, you got Kevontae Turpin, right? The USFL MVP coming in, returning kicks and punts. But they're really going to have to lean on that running game, and maybe the injuries at receiver will actually make them pick the identity that they need to pick, which is run the ball through Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I think that's their recipe for success, not having Dak go out there and throw the ball 40 times a game.
Before I let you go, Robert Griffin III, I'm going to ask you college and pro, your pick to win it all in both college and professional football this year. Robert Griffin III, I give you the floor. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so I'll start with the NFL since that's what we're talking about.
Yep.
My pick to win the Super Bowl is the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
I believe they are on a revenge tour. Not just Lamar Jackson, right? He wants to remind everybody, just in case they forgot, that he's the most dynamic offensive weapon in the league, right? That's running, throwing, whatever you want. He's going to remind the guys of that. But their defense also struggled last year. They were 32nd in the league against the pass, and I think that's going to have them have a chip on their shoulder. They're healthy now. They missed the playoffs last year after 26 guys went on IR. I think they're going to come out with a vengeance and actually get it done in the playoffs this year. So that's my pick for the NFL. And then college-wise, I'm going to go with Alabama. And a lot of people are picking Ohio State. I'm in Michigan right now, Rich, just so you know. But I'm going to go with Alabama because of Bryce Young and the fact that they used the portal probably better than anyone else in the country. They went and got Jahmyr Gibbs from Georgia Tech, who's a dynamic running back, running and catching the ball in the backfield. They went and got Jermaine Burton from Georgia, who beat them in the national championship as a big-time down-the-field receiver. And they got Tyler Harrell, who not many people are talking about, but he's a receiver from Louisville who averaged 29.3 yards per catch last year. Put it this way, he had 23 catches, I believe, and 593 yards. Talk about a deep threat. I think they've added weapons, and their defense is going to be better this year. So that's would be my pick for Alabama. But, Rich, talking about I'm at your alma mater right now, man. I'm in Ann Arbor just strolling around campus trying to figure out what to do. You got to tell me where to go, man.
Well, there's many different places for you to go. If you're into the deli, the Zingerman's Deli is one of the greatest delis in the United States of America. That's number one. There's the Brown Jug that used to be good when I was there. I imagine it's still very good right there as well. Those are two good spots, lunch, dinner. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you're into some other stuff, late night drinking, I don't think you are, Robert. You're a dad. You're a husband and a father. You're a corporate man at the worldwide leader in sports. But it's a great spot. Ann Arbor's beautiful. What are you doing there?
Man, I'm out here.
Going to see Jim?
This is my first time coming to the Big House. I'm calling the game here with Mark Jones.
You're doing the Colorado State-Michigan game too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Colorado State.
Well, now you've got to stay 2 more minutes. Tell me what's going on with the quarterback deal. I didn't even know you were calling that game. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's going on there?
I was like, man, I know you're excited about this one, but this is my first time being at the Big House, so I'm pretty thrilled. I'm trying to soak up everything, including the tailgating. But listen, for all the Michigan fans out there,
okay,
this is Jim Harbaugh. He's taken a page out of Lloyd Carr's book. All right, go back to 1999. Look at what Lloyd Carr did with Tom Brady and
Drew
Mr. Henson.
Yeah.
This is exactly the same thing. You have a guy who is a team leader. The players love him. He was voted a captain in Cade McNamara. He does everything at the quarterback position better than J.J. McCarthy, except for being a playmaker. That sounds eerily similar to 1999 to me. I think that this is a modern-age quarterback battle where you're trying to get a guy not to go in the transfer portal, so you're giving them both opportunities to make plays for you. And it worked last year. They played them both. They went to the college football playoff. So Harbaugh is trying to string this out as long as he possibly can until one guy takes it. So we'll see. Cade's starting tomorrow against starting on Saturday against Colorado State. We'll see if he can go out and put up some great numbers that trump whatever McCarthy does in the next game against Hawaii. But that is what I believe is going on right now. It's just trying to keep a guy from going in the portal.
Okay, so then that's what I thought too. I mean, McCarthy is he can run it better than Cade, that's for sure, and he's more of a double threat. And I just hope that McCarthy has more of an upside than Drew Henson showed when he was at Michigan. And I hope Cade McNamara does go to the NFL and become the greatest player of all time. That would be great if that's the way this all plays out for Michigan.
Exactly. No one thought that Tom Brady would be the greatest of all time when he left Michigan. But if you go back and look at what he did at Michigan, with hindsight being 2020, the markings were all there. Tom Brady had that in him, that comeback ability, that never quit attitude. But I think, once again, Harbaugh understands the recruiting probably better than anyone. He's had a lot of top classes recruiting at Michigan. He doesn't want to lose one of these guys that he values so much.
Well, I haven't been on campus in 6 years, so I'm sure somebody else would, might give you a better sense. Schefter's, been on campus more recently, so maybe he'll give you a better sense of where to go. But have a great time. That big house is something else, man. And I, just know you'll have my emotions in your hands if that game is close. So be careful is all I'm saying on Saturday. I look forward to hearing you. This is great. I'm excited for you and me.
Oh, appreciate you. Thank you, Rich, man. Appreciate you having me on, brother, as always.
Let's do it again soon. Right back at you. Robert Griffin III. A lot going on. Monday Night Countdown, and he's calling a game in a big house.
Amazing.
And how good is he? He knows this stat, that stat, this guy, that guy. He's got it at his fingertips. He's studied. Awesome. Love seeing what's going on in his career. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We'll take a break, and we'll take your phone calls in a moment right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
what would it mean to you to win an MVP award? What would it mean to you? I know you're about Go Hawks. I know you're about the team, but what would it mean to you, do you think, for something?
Well, I think anytime anybody wins an MVP, the first thing that I think about is that means that team's winning, right? That means that team's doing a great job of winning and doing everything you can. I think also, too, that's my number one objective, is to be the greatest winner of all time and try to win as many games as possible, and the Super Bowls, too. And so, that's if I'm playing my best, I think we got a really great chance of, doing something special this year. And I think, the rest of the guys too. And so it's a team effort. This game is so special because it's such a team effort. Everybody making their plays. Guys like David Moore making that amazing catch in the corner and, tiptoeing in the sideline, moonwalking into the pylon. That was just, those are the kind of efforts and team moments that allow players to do special things. And I think, I got to credit my teammates on that. I think more than anything else, though, for me, what it means is just that, all the off-season work, all the training, all the time that you spend, all the focus, all the hours upon hours, all the flights that, and things that you've done just to, sit down one-on-one with somebody and talk to them about, the game of football and just spend some quality time with people. I think that's where those moments really show up. But I think that all that hard work and all the time trying to throw in a bucket when you're a young kid, it all makes a difference. I think more importantly, though, is I want to win this week, and take it on, and just stay focused and do that. I know that's what it takes to be great, is to stay in the moment, stay neutral, not to get too high. I have high expectations, so I already know what those expectations are. So it's nothing new. I just got to stay neutral and stay in the moment.
YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show, right here on the program. Back here on our terrestrial radio outfit, Chrome Soft, best tour ball out there. Also, it's made even me better. It's made the best players better, and it's made everyone better. I'm in the everyone category. I use the Chrome Soft golf balls, the regular Chrome Soft, because it gives me a better feel, more distance, incredible forgiveness. It has the best tour performance for every type of performance, the Chrome Soft family of golf balls. The Chrome Soft X gives you great spin consistency and tour-level short game control. The XLS gives you lower spin golf balls on longer shots, firmer feel, but still with the high spin around the greens that some really top-notch golfers are looking for. It ensures the greatest, highest quality, most consistent, fastest golf balls possible for you. So when you add it all up, it's so simple. Chrome Soft is better for the best. It's better for everyone. Find out which Chrome Soft is right for you at CallawayGolf.com/Chrome Soft. Did you agree, Christopher? TJ? Mike, you can chime in, but I doubt you're paying attention.
I am paying attention.
To what RG3 had to say. Anything else? Here's what he had to say. Had an issue with Russ not insisting on fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't have a problem with him.
I have no problem with Russ doing what he did. It's best for him and it's best for his situation.
A good point. Let me
he's going to tell the new owners of the team, if you don't guarantee every last dollar, then my name's going to be mud around, the Burrow household.
Good point.
Herbert, I need to do it for Herbert. I'm going to start off my new tenure with my new team and my new benefactors.
Also, Rich, Russ is kind of
that way,
and not quite in a Brady situation, but he has a pretty high 2-income household as well.
No, I know that.
So maybe that had something to do with them not like.
That's what I'm just saying. It's just like, there's two ways to do it. I'm going to get this thing done. I'm going to still be insanely happy and insanely rich, and everybody knows that I'm on board. Let's ride. Or you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to strike a blow for the rest of the players in the league. Now, RG3 is a former player in the league. I'm a guy who just talks about it for a living and has been covering the league for almost 2 decades. And my answer is he's got to get his. That's his. He's going to start. Let's ride, everybody. I'm here in Denver. Let's ride. I've got my family saying, let's ride. Let's all ride. Not until, though, I get every last dollar guaranteed because I've got the rest of the league to consider about. I got to ride with them, too. So when I say let's ride, it's not just us and let's ride, but I'm not ready to ride yet. I can't saddle up yet for the long term until you give me every last dime, guaranteed. Chris, how do you feel on that subject?
I feel like Russ cares about, at this point in his career, he's got the Super Bowl. He cares about probably making the Hall of Fame and winning another Super Bowl. Maybe not in that order. So taking the fully guaranteed dollars probably limits who he can get as teammates
potentially
in the next 7 years to help him do that. So by taking a little bit less, probably could he asked for $200 million guaranteed and got it? Yeah, probably. But 165, nothing to shake a stick at, and he still gets a lot of his money and can still help Denver mold a team around him to contend.
I'm assuming that's what it is. Again, we're not capologists. We need one in the RES consulting department.
We do need a capologist.
I think right now
because math is not our strong suit.
That's definitely not.
Well,
we were the ones who couldn't even add up to 54 the other day.
Yeah, we really.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
we're grown men who
That's a
can't
problem when we go to NFL front offices and say you should hire us. Well, who's your capologist? Well, let me look around here. Do we have one?
Felly?
No.
Well, hey, Jay Felly does run a successful business, so at this point, he might be the capologist.
I think Denver's going to be a lot better than people think. Maybe definitely better than you think. So I think this is a good move all around.
My opinion on Denver is I need to see it to believe it, not that they're going to be awful. I'm not sitting here saying, as someone on a show like this would say, Denver's got no shot.
You think they're fourth in that division, though?
Going in, I do.
Yeah, so?
Because they're the ones with the new situation.
Right. New coach, new quarterback.
Right.
Got it.
And that usually adds up to inconsistency in a division that's really deep. That's all I'm saying there. John Lynch and you and Chris Brockman's Burning Questions Hour 2.
But that consistency
We're still here on YouTube.
Is usually with new coach, rookie quarterback, not new coach, 10-year veteran, Super Bowl champ on the Hall of Fame path quarterback.
Yes.
So that's why I have a little more faith in Denver. And I have Russ in fantasy. So
Ravens
I'm
and what about the Ravens as the Super Bowl champion?
That got me to look up and raise an eyebrow.
That would be a similar situation to Joe Flacco wanting to get paid.
It would be, especially
there was a conversation that did not wind up with a contract prior to the season, and Steve Bisciotti saying, "You earn it, I'll pay it, and I know you can hold me over a barrel, but you do it." And what happened was that. And so RG3 saying it'll be something similar. The defense will be better. They hopefully won't, for them, knock on, loose side here. Going to have 26 players placed on injured reserve, including their entire running back room in the next 10 days, as happened last year. So he's throwing that out there.
Ravens have the 7th, 8th best Super Bowl odds at the moment, 20-1.
Man,
not bad.
A lot of food for thought from Robert Griffin III, who's calling the Colorado State at Michigan opener. Chris Fowler's calling the Notre Dame Ohio State contest on Saturday night. He just called Serena's remarkable win at Ashe last night at the U.S. Open. He's in hour 3. John Lynch coming up when we come back right here on the Rich Eisen Show.
American Pharoah.
Ready to roll on the Rich Eisen Show.
gentlemen, please welcome.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Oh, my God.
You beat Ohio State last year.
Oh, my God.
Do you have the same drive to beat them this year?
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
I can't even think about it. I'm jumping out of my skin over that possibility.
The Rich Eisen Show. Earlier on the show, ESPN NFL analyst Robert Griffin III. Still to come, 49ers general manager John Lynch. ESPN host and broadcaster Chris Fowler. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
That it is. 844-204-RICH, number to dial here in hour number 2 of the Rich Eisen Show on our YouTube stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. We say hello to everybody in the 457 chat hole, wormhole, here on our program, where we say hello to our terrestrial radio listeners, coast to coast. We say hello to listening on the Odyssey app, and of course our podcast listeners listening whenever they darn well please on the Cumulus Podcast Network, where all podcasts can be acquired. Just check us out every single day. We greatly appreciate all of you doing that. The phone lines are completely lit. We'll get to them in a moment. I arrived here a little late today, prior to the show, because I don't know what it was, but I was behind every terrible driver in Los Angeles, California, and there's many of them out here. I don't know what it was, but it was
also school started,
insane.
I think, midweek here.
It's 100 degrees out.
It's very, very hot.
Rich Eisen Show complaining about the traffic and weather together on the ones.
Yeah, well done.
That's what I'm doing, getting it off my chest. So I was in a little bit of a mood, but then RG3 got me out of it. He started talking about how he's on my favorite campus on planet Earth, Ann Arbor, Michigan. I didn't know that he was calling the Colorado State contest against my alma mater.
You feel like you're about 31 points better than Colorado State this weekend? What do you think about that?
I just want to be 1 point better than them. How does that sound?
That would not sound great to me.
I don't know, man. I would love for Michigan to just come out and blow the doors off.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would absolutely love it, but I have no idea. Being a Michigan fan for as long as I've been, following them since 1986, these are the type of games usually where they come out, maybe they'll score first, and you think, okay, this is good, and then some dumbass penalty called by some Big Ten ref that sucks already, or they make a mistake, fumble it, interception, they keep Colorado State alive and in the game, and suddenly it's a tight one, and I'm already biting down on my cuticles at halftime thinking this one's not going to be easy. I mean, I'd love for them to come out and just look like, okay, they're top 10. They're just going to win by 30 something. What do you have to win by?
31.
Okay. I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy, is what I'm saying. You're asking the wrong guy, to say the least. Chris Fowler is calling Ohio State and Notre Dame on Saturday night, and he's calling some top-notch tennis affairs at the United States Open. That is for darn sure. Serena Williams is through to the third round. We'll talk about that later on this hour. John Lynch is calling in about 20 minutes' time. Do we have questions for John Lynch? What do you think?
Well,
general manager of the 49ers?
I think we've got
questions for him.
We've been talking about his team for a few months now.
Yeah, let's talk about his tight end room, right? Who's backing up George Kittle? How about that one for
Brandon
starters?
Ayuk, look.
John Lynch joins us in about 20-some-odd minutes' time. He's a busy man.
We could have him break down the Rays playoff chase.
We could.
He used to play for them.
The Rays? He played for the Rays?
He was in their minor leagues. I think they drafted him.
Yeah, I don't think we'll do that. I stopped following baseball as around like 11 o'clock local time
so
last night.
you're back not following
baseball. It's just I'm on and off.
You got it.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. Chris Brockman's burning questions for the next group of 5 teams on your list.
25 to 21.
You did 32 to 26 yesterday.
Correct.
Who'd you tick off yesterday?
Jaguars fans weren't too happy. I said basically the roster was kind of still the same. They do have some new starters, which, apologies for overlooking that. But look,
they're a sensitive group.
You're still going to be probably picking in the top 10. It's okay.
Good news. Good news in Carolina. Sam Darnold has just the dreaded high ankle sprain. It looked like his ankle was snapped in half.
Yeah, it did.
Actually, over the weekend in that final preseason game for Carolina. He's out 4 to 6 weeks, which gives him a chance to come back and actually participate in the 2022 season. And I thought to myself when I saw that, I'm like, if Sam Darnold has any luck, it would be no luck at all. Good God, has this guy just had, drafted into the NFL. His first touchdown pass for the Jets was a pick six on that Monday nighter in Detroit. And then he still came back and won.
Yep. And
then his coach was Todd Bowles, your current Tampa Bay head coach. And he was dead coach walking, a defensive-minded coach with a young rookie quarterback. And the Jets decided, let's get rid of him and bring in Adam Gase. I think that is enough said on that front. And then they give him the exit visas he's looking for. He goes to Carolina. He beats the Jets last year. He starts 3-0, and it looks like he's got his shot, and he's on his way, and then he gets hurt again. And then the offensive coordinator who was brought in from LSU by Matt Rule, Joe Brady. Remember when he brought in that?
Yep.
He brought in Joe Brady, and at that time, the concept was he was the hottest assistant in college.
After Joe Burrow's 60 touchdown Heisman season.
And to get that guy and bring him and that style of offense to the NFL and instill it into the professional ranks with Sam Darnold, that's the win. McCaffrey gets hurt. Now Matt Rule's on the hot seat. It's a new offensive coordinator there. He's got the shot again until Baker Mayfield is acquired.
Crazy.
And as I told you, the minute Mayfield was acquired, it was a wrap. A wrap. And I know that they had their competition, but you don't go out and get somebody like Mayfield after evaluating Sam Darnold and having him in your group for as long as they had him. You don't make that move, even though it was hardly anything compensation-wise to go get him, except the money that they're spending. You don't do that if you have full confidence in the guy that you're already having as your starter. You don't go and get Mayfield if you believe in Darnold. And sure enough, it's Mayfield's gig, and Darnold is playing anyway in a preseason game, and it looked like he had his ankle broken, but thank goodness the football gods have saw fit to keep that ankle from breaking. It's the dreaded high ankle sprain. I hope he gets back in and has an opportunity to contribute, although that would mean that's a problem for Carolina. That would be an issue. And Baker Mayfield is showing his moxie, to say the least, in many different ways right now. Him versus Jacoby Brissett week one. As you all know, it's already on and cracking. But at least Sam Darnold got some good news just moments ago. 844-204-RICH. Let's take some phone calls, man.
Let's do it.
Let's go to Chike in Connecticut. First up here on the program. Did I say your name right, sir?
You did indeed.
Fantastic.
First of all, I have to say I'm a huge fan, and you're one of the reasons why I want to go into broadcasting.
Oh, wow. Okay. Terrific. Can you wait till I'm done with my job before you take it? Would you mind?
Sure.
Okay. That's all I ask.
Sure.
Okay. What's on your mind, sir?
First of all, do you think the Ravens will make the playoffs? And if you do, how far do you think they'll go?
Oh, man. I am already I had to send in yesterday, Chike, and for the rest of everyone in the room here, on Tuesday is the NFL Game Day morning season preview show.
Yes.
I had to send in all 8 of my division predictions and my MVP. And
did you pick wild cards too?
No, I had to pick. I just had to pick 8 division winners. They just asked for 8 division winners, and they asked for an MVP.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to reveal him here on the show tomorrow.
I think you should.
Okay.
I think you should too.
In the same way that Russ was thinking for himself and not the rest of the group, and apparently taking everything that wasn't fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm going to just reveal him tomorrow on this program.
Love it.
However, I will just reveal to you, since you just asked me, I do not have the Ravens winning the AFC North.
Oh.
RG3, I'm sure you heard on hold, said they're going to win the whole thing. So,
yeah, I don't know about that. That's a bit of an overreaction. If that was an overreaction Monday, I would think that's an overreaction. I think, in my opinion, I think we'll make the title game, but not the Super Bowl.
Okay, well, there you have it. That means you probably think that they're winning the division. All I'll say is this: you can't sit here and say the Ravens have no shot to do what RG3 said. We can't sit here and do that. They've got the coach. They've got the quarterback. They've got enough talented players. They have the identity. So many teams are searching for one entering week one. We know what their identity is. So we can't sit here and deny that. And thanks for the call, Chike. And again, remember to give me a shot to finish my job before you take it. But I don't have them winning the AFC North. I'll reveal them tomorrow.
I like that idea.
How about them apples?
I like it.
Sorry, NFL Network, but at least you're going to get them exclusively from Mooch, Irv, and Kurt on Tuesday.
You get the Bengals winning the...
I'll hold off my MVP until Tuesday. How does that sound? But I'll do the division winners tomorrow. We'll do that here on the program. Let's go to, the UK. Nick in Birmingham, UK. All the way from across the pond, as I'm mandated to say, as an American sports broadcaster, anything involved with the United Kingdom. What's going on, Nick?
Hey, Rich. Yeah, not too much. I just wanted to talk quickly about fantasy football. I know you guys are, obviously, Mr. Brockman is very into his fantasy football, and you've got the crazy rules of Mr. Truglio's league going on. So on Monday, I am taking part for the second time in a crazy 24-man league.
Oh, what? Don't do it.
Named after notorious first-round draft bust Jamarcus Russell. Shout out to the Jamarcus Bowl. It's a one running back, one wide receiver, two flex league, and by round 4, as you can imagine, it gets a little bit ridiculous.
All right, hold on a second, Nick. Walk me through your league. It's 24 man. Is it a snake draft? Is it an auction draft? What is it? What do you got?
Yeah, it's a snake draft.
Okay. And the positions are what? The positions are what?
So you've got quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver, one tight end, two flex, a kicker, and defense, and then a 5-man bench.
Uh-huh. All right.
So
I just looked it up. If I'm not mistaken, speaking the way that folks in the UK would say, is it proper to say this is barmy? Is it proper to say that?
Yes, I would say it's pretty balmy.
That's the British slang for crazy or insane. I just looked that up. Thank you, Google.
Well done.
All right. That said, what advice can I help you with?
What pick do you have?
What do you have?
So I've got pick 11.
Okay.
All right.
You can imagine, obviously, first and probably second tier running backs will be taken, maybe Cooper Kupp and a couple of others, and then usually in the first round you get a wild quarterback pick as well. So then that starts the quarterback free for all as well. So,
Chris, what do you say? I'll turn to you since your 14-team league looks like a walk in the park compared to this.
Looks like amateur hour.
So 11 you could get Kelsey, right? You could get Kelsey, or you could get Devontae Adams 11. I think in a league like that, if people are taking running backs
you could probably
like
get,
crazy. I think
like
you could do that.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to find some.
How about this, Nick? Why don't you? When is this? It's Monday.
It's Monday at about 3 Eastern.
Okay. Can you tweet at our at Rich Eisen Show your final roster and then call back and walk us through it on Tuesday? Would you mind doing that?
Sure, I'll give that a go.
Let's do that.
Nick, why don't you guys break this up into two 12-team leagues?
Like divisions.
Or divisions. Even divisions you're going to have 2 leagues.
Yeah.
And then just have the winners play each other.
Divisions.
Yeah, I don't know. Or
still got everybody drafted.
I think there's the option. There's only 2 options here, TJ.
One is not to play.
Is to do this or not at all.
Yeah, that's too many.
As you know, we would choose the not at all. But Nick, thank you for the call. We'll chat with you on Tuesday. Can't wait for the rest of it.
I'm seeing some like Jamar Chase 11th overall. Like that wouldn't be bad. Maybe you could stack him and Joey Burr.
Connor in Thousand Oaks, California. Let's take your phone
bit closer.
Call. What's up, Connor? Yeah.
Hey, Rich. I wanted to read a tweet that I think will make both of us pretty excited. You as a Jets fan, me as a Bears fan.
Okay.
This is on Twitter via the Hard Rock Sportsbook. August 2021, Bengals are 151 to win the Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow's entering his second season. August 2022, Bears and Jets are 151 to win the Super Bowl, and Justin Fields and Zach Wilson are both entering their second season. I know that it says August, and today is September 1st. I meant to call you in yesterday, but
do it.
Hey, I'm 27. I got a lot of S going on. And Rich, I know you have no idea what that tweet means, but Chris, you could take that heart and take it to Vegas. JF1's taking off this year.
Hold on a minute. Wait, JF1 is Justin Fields 1, is what you're saying. That's the JF1 that's taking off.
Yes.
South Loose is going to be loose up north.
Yeah, I think that JF1, you're missing a C in between the F and the 1 right there. If you don't mind me saying. But what else do you have in mind?
I also want to leave you with a new slogan for the Big Ten. I want to give you a couple options, and so you can choose your favorite.
All right.
So it just means more travel. It just means more distance. It just means more jet fuel. And my personal favorite, it just means more time zones.
Well done, sir. You've done the Lord's work here on the program.
Great. Connor, thank you.
It just means more time zones. I like it. If we get Kevin Warren of the Big Ten on, he's been invited. The commissioner of the Big Ten has been invited multiple times on this show. Hosted the only show of its kind. 3 hours long. Streamed. Podcasted. Broadcast on radio. The only show of its kind hosted by a Big Tenner. I had to keep on adding different things out there. To make sure it's distinguished by whatever Greenies does for ESPN
Greeny's
Radio.
Not Big Ten, right?
He's Northwestern.
Oh, he's Big Ten. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Dan went to Dayton.
He's not a Big Ten. Lebitard's not.
Lebitard went
McAfee,
to Miami.
as we all know, is
Pat went to West Virginia.
Where did Rome go? Oh, he went to the school of smack, right?
I think Rome is UCSB.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's a gaucho.
Is
Which
he?
one's that one?
I don't know.
He's a gaucho.
Right. Who else?
Who else is out?
Where's
who else
Colin?
Is out there?
Where did Colin go to school?
Where Colin went to school. Hold on, let's find that real quick.
Okay.
Who
School
else
of Hot
missing?
Takes? Is that where he went to school?
School of just flip-flopping? I think he's from
stop.
Eastern Washington.
Okay, very good.
He went to Chancla University?
Eastern Washington.
You went to Eastern Washington? Okay, so I think I'm in the clear here. We've invited Kevin Warren. We'll bounce off all those things down.
And my advice to Connor is save your money. Don't bet either the Jets or the Bears at 1.
Let's go to John in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. John, you're on the Rich Eisen Show. What's going on?
Hey, Rich. You know, it's a list world that we live in, and I'm calling with a list. I know you love your coaching cliches.
Yes, sir.
And there's a few things that you're wonderful at this show, and I love everything you do.
Uh-oh, that's a setup.
With my Rich Eisen isms of things that you like to go to and say, and they always work every time.
Okay. By the way, you should start with all due respect, because I feel like what's about to come is on the water's edge of disrespect.
Don't
John?
worry, Rich. With all due respect, this is a testament to your work.
Okay, thank you very much. You have the floor. John in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a list of Rich Eisen isms. Uh-oh. Go for it.
Number 3 is anytime a team, whenever they have a young quarterback, you know what they got to do?
What?
They got to take the lump. Number 3, they got to take the lump.
Take the lump.
Can you write them down? Write them down. Write them down. Take the lumps. Take the lumps. That's number 3. Number 2?
Number 2 on this list, maybe number 2 on this list, but it's number 1 in your heart. It's every time that Rich says a player is their number in the program, but number 1 in your heart.
That's true. Okay, I like it.
And then, anyway, we get to the top of the list, and it's not just number 1. It's number 1 plus the biscuit. Anytime that someone is that good, they're not just the best. They're all that plus the biscuit.
Plus biscuit. Yes. I will say that about your list as well.
Pretty good list.
It's all that plus the biscuit.
And I want to leave y'all with one honorable mention.
Oh, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Give the Clooney drop to him. Give the Clooney drop to him, Mike. Mike's half paying attention.
He moved it. Turkey moved it.
You want more?
It's not
I got you. You want more?
Never Mike's
Let me get
fault.
one more.
Okay, go for it.
Do you need one more?
So here's the honorable
Fowler.
mention, which is that I hope that this time next September, we're able to remember these items on the list as much as Rich loves to remember the 42 things that happened last November.
Very
That was
good.
a shot off
All
the
right,
bow.
John in Baton Rouge. Well done, sir.
You know, I'm a fan of.
There it is.
Having problems with the machine.
John, he also said all of those things while pacing on the phone around the studio.
I do that a lot. I'm a pacer. I'm a pacer while I talk. I talk and pace. All right, let's take a break. So we're on time for one John Lynch. He knows what's going on with the 49ers. Last I checked.
I would hope so.
Oh, yeah, baby. I love this guy. Pro Football Hall of Famer John Lynch when we come back on The Rich Eisen Show. also makes a good point. So the chat room is chiming in with some other of my crutches. What else? What are people chiming in the 457?
Just a bunch of stuff. You know.
What do you mean? That means it's not mentionable?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat.
Yeah, it's all things you say. It's,
so what is it? What else? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, no Buffalo. It's the first of the month. I mean, ask about Jimmy Ward.
What?
You're asking me?
No, what are they saying on my other mannerisms, my other things that I say on
what
the
are
air?
you talking about, TJ?
I thought he was talking about tell us what's going on in the chat.
No, I'm saying, what are they saying?
No, about Beyond the Pale.
Beyond the Pale's a good one.
Lead pipe wielding professional.
Lead pipe wielding professional.
I do use that a lot.
Better for talking to you. That's kind of my number one, Rich.
I use that a lot?
Yeah.
You use that for everyone. Every person that calls in.
No, not
every person that calls in.
Not every. It's usually
80%.
Important. I shouldn't say important.
See, now,
everyone's important.
If I use it for John Lynch now, you guys are going to laugh, and he'll probably like, why is that funny? Because I imagine he's not tuning into our YouTube stream before calling into the show. Right?
Right. But, you know.
I imagine he's not putting the finishing touches on the practice squad watching our show on our YouTube stream.
Well, someone will be like, you're like, hey, how's it going? And Robert Griffin will go, I'm great, Rich.
How are you?
How are you? And you go, I'm
better for talking to you.
Better for talking to you.
Okay. Guilty. As charged. I like people who are paying attention.
Yeah. I mean,
spell my name right.
You're just Richisms.
Spell my name right. What's good? What's so funny?
Someone said something about two pump chump referring
Which
to
is
Mike.
why I
referring to Mike.
didn't want you to tell Mike that.
Mike clap back two pump D's nuts.
Exactly. It's like, what do you mean?
See, Brockman, I said that to you because I knew if you told Mike
Get
this
it
would
out
happen.
of your system before John Lynch calls.
Exactly.
Will you please? 844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the Rich Eisen Show, everybody.
Is that what you thought?
Hey,
we're
Rich,
talking about TJ?
Yes. Is John on the phone right now?
He is calling in. I do believe they might be getting him on the phone or something like that.
Could you just do us a favor real quick, because this person keeps commenting this. Could you explain to our people in the chat that Jimmy G is probably not getting traded to the Detroit Lions?
Well, I do believe that won't be happening, but there's somebody who could help us on that front.
Well, this guy keeps asking, so I just want you to address it.
Just tell him to watch Hard Knocks and just sit back and watch this interview, okay?
So there you go.
All right. 844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the Rich Eisen Show. Again, we're coming to Roku later on this month. We're very excited about that new relationship, and we'll keep everybody posted on how you can take in the Rich Eisen Show every single day on Roku devices, smart TVs, Fire TVs, mobile devices, the RokuChannel.com. It's all free. That's the most important part about it. It is all free. And joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line is my Hall of Fame friend who happens to be directly in the front office and in the middle of all of what has gone on with the San Francisco 49ers, the general manager of said organization, John Lynch, back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, John?
I'm doing good, Rich. I'm doing really well. It's always a tough time of year.
Yep.
Having conversations with players that have really dedicated their entire heart, soul, every ounce of energy into attaining a goal, and to look somebody in the eye and tell them they just came up a little short is a really tough thing to do. But learned a long time ago. I think it was Tony Dungy. I don't think it was. It was Tony Dungy who, anybody who came in and out of our building, Tony would look them in the eye and tell them the truth as to why they were there, why they weren't there, and what the plan moving forward could be for them. So I think that's really important to me that I do that. And, I think the guys appreciate that. So, but nonetheless, it is incredibly tough. The nice thing is with the larger, during COVID, we went with these larger practice squads.
Right.
I think the league has wisely held on to those. It serves as a developmental league in its own right. And it's really the only source of having guys kind of in reserve, and you're improving those players. So you don't have to get rid of as many players as you used to. So it's nice to be able to tell, hey, you didn't make the 53, but we sure like you to be a part of our team by way of the practice squad.
Did you ever witness Tony telling somebody why their playbook was asked to be brought with them into his office, or you spoke to those guys when leaving? Because I imagine that wasn't a conversation he had with you, John, back in the playing days. I mean, how did you witness that is what I'm asking, I guess.
You just knew it happened. You just knew and you knew it went a long way with players. There's a lot of places where it's go get your playbook and turn it in, and nobody's really giving you the message, and or it's a scouting assistant kind of entry level person just saying, hey, turn in your playbook. And I think they're I don't know if owed is the right word, but they've earned that. If they're here and they're working that hard, they deserve to hear it from a decision maker why they're not going to be there. And I think it goes a long way towards people wanting to come back. And word travels. It's the right thing to do, but also word travels as to that organization does things in the right way. I know it did. That was the case down in Tampa and Indy when Tony was there, and I think it's the case here. Kyle does the same thing, and we talk to each of them, so it's great.
John Lynch here on the Rich Eisen Show from the San Francisco 49ers front office. All right, let's just jump into the Jimmy G decision to stay and your process getting to that. I know Kyle Shanahan spoke at length about it in a telephone press conference, but I'd love from your position, how did this come about for Jimmy G to stay with you as the backup, and everyone understands roles, John Lynch?
Yeah, so it's obviously been a long journey way back to kind of around the combine time when I really thought that conversations with a number of teams, probably honed in on 2 or 3 teams where I thought there was a real strong reality that it was happening, just the tenor of the conversations, the discussions of compensation. And then we got the call from Jimmy that, he had visited Neil Elatrash in L.A. and that they had made the decision where it had earlier been rest. It was, okay, we need to surgically fix this issue. And all of a sudden, then we're those said teams, that we're talking to. We have to communicate to them. Hold on, we do need to let you know that Jimmy just is tomorrow having surgery on his throwing shoulder, and you can imagine being those teams. Hey, we're going to step back, and so just to make a long story short, then the chairs start filling up, when there's only so many chairs out there, and throughout the off season. A lot of, teams aren't going to wait on that. And so that happened. Now we get to training camp. And I still think, that, hey, someone's going to come to us with something so strong. You've got a proven starting quarterback, a guy who's been to the Super Bowl, a couple of NFC championship games, that it's just a matter of time. And that really just never happened. Few teams called, but I think everyone, the injury to the shoulder and the fact that a lot of those seats had filled up, I can't speak for other teams as to why they didn't. Now, at some point, we're watching our team and we feeling really good about our team. And there was just a conversation between Kyle and I. Hey, what would you think about, Jimmy coming up here in a backup capacity? This is Trey's team. And I think Kyle's initial reaction was, why would he do that? I'm sure there's going to be a starting, job for him out there, or something's going to arise. And, I don't know exactly when that was, but, we did a couple of things there. We communicated to Jimmy, that we would have interest in that if he did. We also pulled Trey in and talked to him and said, we want you to know we had this conversation. It has nothing to do with you. This is your team. This has more to do with our belief in the team, and if we can strengthen that room and have him as your backup, then that we believe that makes us a better team. Have no idea whether it's going to happen. It's likely won't. And as things kind of developed, I guess some people might say, well, why didn't you just do it then a month ago or something? Well, Jimmy and Don Yee and Carter Chow as representatives, I think smartly said, we're going to wait for every possibility, whether that's a starting quarterback getting hurt, whatever it is. Sometimes time is your friend on these things. And so we're going to wait till the very end of camp, till the last preseason games played, before we're ready to do something like that. But we do have interest. And so, when it happened very quickly. I'm sorry for a long story, but I don't know any other way to tell it.
No, I'm hanging on to your every word, John, seriously, because and I appreciate you going back to the combine, because that's how far back it's got to go. And the surgery creating a situation where clearly a tradable commodity suddenly needs to be shelved in every possible way. I totally understand what you were doing, and you had me hanging on your every word. So what was Lance's reaction to being told, the guy who you were replacing, and we have attempted to trade, so you could understand not only from our mouths and our hearts, but with our roster moves, that this is your team, that we're thinking of bringing him back to make sure that we have our backup position and that quarterback room as solidified as we possibly can. His reaction to that was what, John?
Yeah, so when we first floated the idea, it was Kyle talking to Trey, and then I kind of followed up, and it was Kyle said, John, I don't think there's much of a conversation. It was real short. He said, cool, I think that's great. Trey's a confident young man. He's got a lot of belief in his abilities. He and Jimmy, I think the most important thing, they have a really strong foundation of a relationship. Jimmy could not have been any better to Trey as a rookie, and I think Trey supported Jimmy extremely well. So there's a real friendship there, first of all, and I get it. There's competition. They both, I'm sure last year and this year want to be the guy, but I think there's an understanding, that there is a pecking order, and I think, like Trey's conversation when we decided to do it, he was, once we completed the deal, happened shortly after we came off the practice field. Again, it's the first person Kyle called in, and then, I spoke with Trey, and Trey was all on board. He thought it was good for our team. And, the other thing we did then is, talked to Trey. We had to talk to Nate Sudfeld, who wasn't going to be here anymore, who, likely was going to be our number two. And then we Kyle and I, we pulled 15 players from our team, kind of our leadership committee, in and told them, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it. And, wanted wanted to let the guys know that it was our belief in this team, in those guys in the room. And we know we've created a culture and we've got the men that can handle a situation like this. And so while the rest of the world may think it's uncomfortable, it's, we're not supporting our lead guy, we don't believe in that. We believe in this team and we think it makes us better. And most importantly, we've talked to Trey, we've talked to Jimmy, they're comfortable. So we want your guys, not their blessing because we were doing it anyway, but we want you guys to be on board, and they were excited. And so that's where we're at, and we're moving forward. And I'm happy that, we've got a quarterback room that obviously is so important in this league, that is really strong going into the season. And Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, made it as well.
Amazing.
We usually keep 2 quarterbacks, but he played very well in the preseason and, really forced us to keep him on the 53 as well.
49ers GM John Lynch here on the Rich Eisen Show, talking about what everybody's talking about in the NFL. So, I mean, look, it's not your first rodeo. You got a bust in Canton showing that. You got a Hallis trophy in the case in Santa Clara, and a Super Bowl roster that a lot of people believe is ready to go right now. So you understand. I mean, I had Kurt Warner, a bust, roommate of yours, on the show yesterday when he was the veteran and on the Giants team that turned to Eli, and he said there were veterans there that were saying to him, "Look, we can win this. Why aren't you out there instead of us struggling with the rookies?" That's part of the reason, I assume, why you did call the leaders of your locker room, your leadership council together, make sure that we're all on board. What is the struggle threshold potentially that you and maybe Kyle have talked about, where maybe your stance with Trey Lance might somehow waver? That's the conversation that everyone's having right now, John, that I think I just wanted to put a fine point question in your lap on that very subject matter with a young quarterback that's going to have the ups and downs. John.
A good question. I'm stunned. I was hit with a jab because I thought you were calling, when you said Kurt Warner, a bust. I was like,
no,
calling Kurt Warner a bust.
No.
A bust mate. I got you.
No. A bust in the room with you. A bust mate of yours.
Yes. In the room.
Yes.
I got you.
Yeah.
And hey, Kurt has great perspective, but again, what it came down to, and obviously when you have somebody you've invested as much in as we have in Trey, you want to provide for every opportunity for them to be successful. But what we came down to, we can't control narratives outside the building, even like Kurt Warner, and I respect his opinion. I seek those guys out sometimes and ask them about situations. But it was basically, we think our team can handle this, and we're going to be very clear. No different than last year was Jimmy's team. And, when the call is made to go to the backup, that's all on Kyle. I'm not passing the buck. That's his decision as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think our players trust that. And, the bottom line is, when we were drafting Trey Lance, the skill set's obviously important. Everything's important when you're making that big a decision. But a lot of it is the mental fortitude, the mental toughness, the capacity to handle the pressure at that position. And that's where we thought Trey was as strong as anybody in that draft. And frankly, it was our belief in Trey that allows us to do this, because we think he can handle that. And, does it provide more pressure on him? Looking over the shoulder, we don't believe so. Maybe the narrative outside, but what we can focus on is having great communication with Trey, with Jimmy, with our players, and saying, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, and we want you guys to have everybody's back in this, and our team understands that. They were all on board. They've got great belief in Trey. They've played. With Jimmy for a long time. They have great belief in him, but they understand that this is Trey's team. He's going to get every shot to go have success. And furthermore, and I think more importantly, they really believe that he's destined to.
So I guess, and I know everything's a hypothetical, anything can happen, but the other thing that Kurt Warner brought up was he got in a game in the year that the Giants eventually did turn to Eli. Coughlin put him in a game to finish it up because Eli was struggling. And he almost pulled off a comeback win over the Ravens. And Kurt said, he told Coughlin, you need to go to the media and assert the fact that I'm still the backup and this is still Eli's team. You've got to do that. And I'm wondering if Jimmy G's got that in him, on top of the fact that, asking you the hypothetical, I know I'm asking two at once, but I only have a limited time left with you, that is it possible that could be a role for Garoppolo, that Lance is struggling, Jimmy finishes up, but then it's Lance's team at the end of the day anyway. Is that possible, John?
I don't know. I think about all these things. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I was my dad was in the radio business, and they were the flagship station for the San Diego Chargers. And
yes.
So I went to every Charger. We were season ticket holders. My dad would entertain clients up in the suite, and my brother and my sister would sit down in the stands as Charger season ticket holders. And you know what I remember? When we had Dan Fouts, another guy who has a bust.
Yes.
And whenever Dan Fouts would struggle, everybody would scream the name of, they would chant Lou. I thought they were booing when I was a young kid. It was Ed Luther was the backup, and they wanted Ed Luther to come in. So I suppose that's always been in football. My grandma was a huge Broncos fan, lived in Boulder, and John Elway may be the greatest specimen of a quarterback ever to play. And she used to, I just really believe in this Gary Kubiak. So I think that's an age-old thing. I think people will always do it. It comes down to, there is a pecking order, and we do have tremendous belief as to, and I've told you all the things about his makeup and people being comfortable with the situation. Then we just let it ride, and we try to plan for everything. I believe me, I respect the heck out of Kurt. He's been through these situations, but we believe it's a good thing for our team, and we're going to roll with that.
Okay, last one for you. All this stuff, put the whole Debo offseason on the back burner because that thing's done. How close were you maybe no longer having Debo on the team, John? Did it ever get close to that for you and the Niners?
I never wanted to believe that it was, but there were some moments, and we had to bring it back together again. Though, you go back to the foundation of a relationship, and the first time I ever met Debo was down at the Senior Bowl. That's when Kyle and I met him. He happened to play for us. That the whole saying that year was from Mobile to Miami because we coached the Senior Bowl, which I don't recommend because it means you were really bad the year before.
Right.
And we went to Miami in our Super Bowl, and Debo was a big part of that. We love his talent, we love his ability, we love the spirit he brings to our team, and as to what caused that and all, I'm just glad he's back in the fold with us, and I always believed that he would. There was that market just took off and it went crazy. And if you go back and do it, the good thing is that it's done, and he's a part of us, and he's so happy. It was a big weight off his shoulders as well. And we're happy Debo's back in the fold and going to be playing for the Niners for years to come because he's such a great player and such a great young man.
Well, John, what a fascinating last, half a year you and the front office and the staff and the team and the organization and the coaching staff had. I'm sure you were relieved that it is over and now it's time for Toe to meet ball in Chicago for your team, and I can't wait to watch it. Just a fascinating team. What a way your season finished up last year and is entering this year. I can't wait, John, and I appreciate the time and the call as always.
Thanks so much, Rich. Always great to talk to you.
Best to your fam. You take care, John.
Yours as well.
Right back at you. It's John Lynch, everybody, General Manager, Hall of Famer, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, we'll take a break and unpack what we just heard from him before Chris Fowler joins us from, I believe he's still in Queens. I don't know if he's already in Ohio State. We'll check in with him. But the man, the voice of the U.S. Open and college football on ESPN still to come. And you. Eric Braden here on The Rich Eisen Show. We have printed out 3 of the great sports rants of all time, and we would love for you to do your best Victor Newman. Is that okay?
No, the first one is Herm Edwards?
Yes, Herm Edwards. The first one up, Herm Edwards on October 30th, 2002, after a Week 8 loss to the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
Here is play to win the game as told by Victor Newman.
This is great about sports. This is what's the greatest thing about sports, is you play to win. Hello? You play to win the damn game, right? You don't play just to play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win.
And October 16th, 2006, after the Cardinals blew a 20-point lead against the Bears on Monday Night Football.
Oh, man.
Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were, as portrayed by Victor Newman.
Bears are who we thought they were, you know? That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the damn hook.
Very good. Very well done. All right, last one for you.
I can feel it. I can feel it.
I'm glad that we got it rolling, because here's the last one.
I can feel it. Oh.
On May 7th, 2002, the famed practice press conference of one Allen Iverson, as recounted by the man who plays Victor Newman, Eric Braden.
I mean, listen, man. We're talking about practice, okay? Not a game. Not a game. Not a game, all right? We're talking about practice. I mean, how silly is that? I know it's important. Yeah, I do. I honestly do. But we're talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice. We're talking about practice, man.
Back here on the Rich Eisen Show.
I do.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. Hey, man, John Lynch just basically told you. We tried to trade him. He had surgery. We didn't expect it. We got a call. He had surgery. All the trade partners we had lined up suddenly ran for the hills. Then we go into the draft. Then we see where all the pieces fall. We see how he comes through surgery. It's training camp. He and we wanted to see how everything shook out in training camp. Were there any injuries? Would anybody come forward needing somebody a la the Vikings? Would Jimmy G be the Sam Bradford of this equation to whichever unfortunate Teddy Bridgewater injury in training camp befell another team? Didn't happen. At some point, turn around, say to Kyle, or Kyle says to me, you think Jimmy want to stay? You know? Goes to Trey Lance. He says, Trey said, cool. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, there's no way he said that.
Well, he could have said it like, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, cool. It's,
yeah, cool. But he says Trey can handle it, and we can handle it, and the team can handle it. And if I'm a veteran in that locker room, if I'm a member of, he said, the 15-member player council, leadership council that they have, if I'm a veteran on this team, and I hear that Jimmy G is willing to stay to be the backup, and he will be there if Trey gets hurt, and the season will not be blown up. We're not handing it off to Nate Sudfeld or Brock Purdy.
Right.
That we're handing it off to Jimmy G, and that Jimmy's willing to be around and be that guy for us. I am like all in. I'm like, do it. Will he do it? Really? Can I call Jimmy? Do you need me to call Jimmy to see if Jimmy will do it? Of course I'm doing it. You want me to sell that in the locker room? I'm in. Done. And that's not a slight to Trey. It's a knowing that one split second can happen. Remember Jimmy G didn't get out of bounds and his knee blew up?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That can happen to Trey Lance. And then my season's over. My ability to win a Super Bowl this year is essentially over because I definitely have concerns about the other guys you're considering as backup. I'm in. As a matter of fact, do you want me to call Jimmy to help? Right. That would have been my response. It's just, again, managing the downs of the ups and downs that are inevitable when it comes to a guy as inexperienced at the position as Trey Lance is. That normally happens in the NFL for somebody like that with that experience level like that. Can he come in and play like Justin Herbert and make this all moot and Jimmy G is an earbud in all season long? You bet. Will he struggle to the point where the team is 500 and it's clearly his fault based on his play, based on the all 22s that are out there on Twitter, the all 22 Twitter showing there's where he should have gone, and you know Kyle knows that, and Kyle has got to be up his you-know-what about it. That is there a threshold? That's why I asked that question of Lynch, and it was funny, his answer being, my dad used to be in radio. I had season tickets to San Diego, and we heard people chanting the backup name for Dan Fouts. What he said, his grandmother was wanting Gary Kubiak to get in the game when Elway would struggle. Funny. And I thought that was a nice way of saying that, there's always going to be that drumbeat outside the building. Right. But we are going to, remember yesterday, Chris, you're like, of course I'd take Jimmy G, but this is not in a vacuum. Yeah, Jimmy G is going to be the presence that might throw Trey Lance off his game, having him look over his shoulder the whole time. And I'm like, well, the coach thinks he can create that vacuum. And you thought that that's not feasible, and you just heard John Lynch and the coach say that that's the feasibility that they're willing to endeavor because having Jimmy G in the building to back the guy up is worth it. That in case of emergency, Garoppolo is there for to start the season is in case Lance gets hurt. We're all sitting there like, will you break the in case of emergency glass if Lance is inconsistent and not ready, not Super Bowl ready? And the inconsistency that you would have been willing to live with to get through this season ups and downs so he can be mature and your guy for a decade plus to follow. You're still not willing to go through those growing pains because you got Jimmy G there and we're going to break the in case of emergency glass because we think we can win the Super Bowl. And Trey Lance will, instead of the conversation being, hey, we're bringing Jimmy G in here. Hope you're cool with that. Cool. It's like, hey, Jimmy's now the starter. Hope you're cool with that. We're going to try again next year with you. That's what's set up for this 49er season, and holy cow, is it pretty much unprecedented and fascinating. But I'm still betting on Lance. I have from the beginning, and I'll keep doing it. Chris Fowler talking to Serena at the U.S. Open and Notre Dame, Ohio State, and more when we come back on the other side on radio. I just try to boil it down for you, man.
They're going to be one of the most fascinating teams
this
year, without question. Every week, it's just going to be analyzing Lance. Did he do enough? Should they go to Jimmy now? Is he going to?
Guess what? If he's not doing enough and they're winning,
who cares?
Right.
Obviously, but if he's not doing enough and they're losing, it's just going to get louder and louder.
But losing to what extent? Losing to what extent?
Losing.
To what extent? 4-3? Do you go to Jimmy G? 3-4? Do you go to Jimmy G?
2-6.
I don't think they'll get to that. They're too damn good, man.
We looked at their schedule. There's no reason they should be
damn good. They should be 2-0.
Yeah, I mean 3-3 after 6 at the very worst,
which is fine. Right. You got it because you have to. You have to get they're going to Lance for a reason because they know they've got to get to him now, sooner, better than later.
Because what they spent to
correct, and also they know that his upside is stupendous. It is.
They think.
We think. You think. You know he's got an upside. What do you think? He's big, tall, strong, fast, smart.
Upside.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Hasn't played a lot.
Got to get him in there.
It'd be awesome if he was great.
Lance and the Niners with Jimmy G backing up at JF1 and the Bears to open week 1. Another fascinating week 1 game.
Fun game.
Chris Fowler on the other side. My buddy from ESPN coming up.
have everything ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Oh, my God.
You beat Ohio State last year.
Oh, my God.
Do you have the same drive to beat them this year?
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
I can't even think about it. I'm jumping out of my skin over that possibility.
The Rich Eisen Show. Earlier on the show, ESPN NFL analyst Robert Griffin III. 49ers general manager John Lynch. Still to come, ESPN host and broadcaster Chris Fowler. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Yes, it is. Can confirm, sources say, and now I'm on camera. It's confirmed. It's confirmed. I am here. That's the name of the show. I am here. I've got a mug in front of me.
Do you want to show him your feet?
Well, that'll be later. I'm wearing, I don't know, I'm wearing Birkenstocks today. Okay, they're very nice. They're very nice footwear. Chris?
I just did that for TJ.
I mean, I never wear open toe here.
Rich, you look like you're ready to part the Red Sea.
Great.
That's all I'm saying.
Terrific. You know what it's called? It's called fashion, you morons.
You walked in with those smelling like patchouli.
Says the guy that wears the same
How
clothes
dare
like
you? It's
almost
called
every day.
fashion. It's called fashion.
No fashion.
Just because I'm branching out doesn't mean I'm leaving you behind, okay? You understand? You're all coming with me to Roku.
Rich,
We're good.
I'm not hating. You just take it down a notch. I'm not hating. Turn it back down to 7.
All right.
I just did that for TJ.
Thank you.
844-204-RICH is the
Rich
number
came
to
in
dial
eating
here on this
granola
program.
this morning.
We just hung out. We just hung out from John Lynch. We just hung up from John Lynch.
I mean, I bet Fowler wears Birkenstocks, so it's fine.
Fowler is a very, very fashionable man, okay? And he's having a hell of a week. And in the middle of his hell of a week, he decided to say, yes, I will call into the Rich Eisen Show.
That's
and
why we love him.
You morons have delayed me getting to him.
I know. He's on. He's waiting.
All right?
I'm sorry.
Hey, Rich.
He's one of my friends. He's one of my best friends from the worldwide leader in sports back in the day. And now he just finished calling an incredible match involving Serena Williams last night. And he's calling Notre Dame versus Ohio State. I'm trying to give him the proper setup, and you've thrown me off my game. Chris Fowler here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Chris? You there, Chris?
Despite my Boulder roots, I cannot pull off Birkenstocks.
Oh, upset.
So therefore I don't put them on. But listen, I'm sure they look good on you.
Wait a minute. That sounded legit. Like you really do think it looks good on me. Probably, right?
I said I'm sure they do. I can't see you at the moment.
Okay,
but
understood.
I'm sure you're pulling off. Like I'm not a sandals guy.
I'm not either.
Don't wear them on a plane. Do me a favor.
Oh, of course, no.
Flip-flops on a plane for guys is a pet peeve. Don't get me going on wearing flip-flops while flying.
Chris, Xander, who you've known for all 14 years of his life, the other day thought of putting on his sandals, open-toed shoes, going to Angel Stadium the other night. I'm like, absolutely not. No chance. We stopped him. I said, the toes must be closed if you're going to a baseball game. And he did, so we're all good.
Too many years in Manhattan, the idea of walking around.
That's true. I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't take the train in it. I wasn't going to cab in it, but I just needed to just get in my car real fast to get here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Can we...
Sound defensive. I'm gonna let you.
Chris Fowler here on the Rich Eisen. All right. I'm going to make the awkward but still necessary segue here. You have called many matches at the United States Open, and this is where does this rank? And I know they're just technically two first opening matches of this tournament, but the circumstances under which Serena Williams shows to this tournament and then wins the first two, where does this rank for you, Chris?
Well, unlike anything I've ever been a part of at a preliminary stage of any sports event, it's maybe if you get the right matchup in a final, for example, when Serena's been in there, when Djokovic was going for the Grand Slam a year ago, you get that electricity. It felt like the final and opening night, and that's unheard of. There was such tension, anxiety, people unsure whether or not Serena should even be playing. How is she going to look? And for 5 games, it looked pretty ugly. And then, obviously, she snapped back and turned it around. Last night was just a celebration. It was a whole different vibe. She came out. She answered some questions. The crowd wasn't nearly as anxious. And it was a performance that I'll never forget. I mean, you got to remember, she's a month from being 41. She's a mom. She's barely played in a year. She looked like all summer, like maybe she'd past her expiration date. And you got to remember, this is Serena, so the regular rules don't apply, and she should never be doubted. But, Rich, that was amazing. I called it with Chrissy Everett and John McEnroe, 2 legends. They were able to frame sort of what we were seeing really well, and it was pretty staggering. Her level of play in the third set, after she got dusted up pretty good by Konovate in the second, you think, I don't know if she's got it physically for this last set. And from the first point of the set, new energy, hitting the ball big, and the crowd was, just came unhinged. It's funny you said this is Serena, because when Mary Jo Fernandez asked her afterwards, a legitimate question, are you surprising even yourself? She kind of gave her this look like, I am Serena, and it's just like, okay. Like that was, she puffed up and she said what she said. And I can't wait to see where this goes. Where do you think this can go, Chris? What do you think? She was 50-1 before the tournament to win the title. I don't think people realize that, because they're used to seeing her there and assuming she's one of the top contenders. The odds makers made her the 23rd choice to win the women's title. More than half the field wasn't even born when she turned pro. So obviously it's an achievement we haven't seen, someone that age trying to compete. And if you saw the way she looked at Wimbledon, and then in the summer when she sometimes looked like she didn't want to be out there, she wasn't moving very well, didn't look inspired. You didn't think this was possible. I mean, even the seasoned pros who know what it's like to try to get back into shape, to raise your level physically, were shocked by what they saw. So now she goes in as a favorite in the next round against Ayla Tomljanovic, who's a very solid player and has a skill set that can trouble a lot of people. But I don't know that she's mentally ready to face what any opponent for Serena's got to face, and that's. You can say, I'm relaxed, I got nothing to lose, I'm going to enjoy the environment. No, you can't. That's not realistic when you get in the heat of battle. And Konovate, who's a very steady player, cracked late. She held up well for a while, but she cracked at the end. And I think that Serena goes in as a favorite on Friday. Sunday would be tricky. If it's Samsonov is a player that most people don't know about, but she's a Russian, very solid player. So it's going to get tougher. But if you can beat the number 2 player with that kind of performance in the third set, people are beginning to wonder what's possible here. And then, of course, there's the New York crowd at the United States Open. And when they get behind one of the players, you're playing against them, too. And that's what's so special in many different ways about the U.S. Open, when there is a fan favorite, a clear fan favorite, in front of the ash or the center court, if you will, crowd. I just remember in the what's now the used to be the Armstrong, right? Used to be the center court there, and I remember when Jimmy Connors at the end of his career was making some magical late runs and fist pumping in the same way that Tiger Woods did from the crowd last night. It's just, there's nothing like it, man, and I imagine that's just going to keep building as long as Serena stays in this tournament. Chris Fowler. Yeah, Agassi's matches, you're exactly right. The old days in Armstrong, Jimmy, John to some degree, but Agassi and Arthur Ashe Stadium, when it was clear the end was near for him, and this is beginning to feel like that. Pete Sampras, of course, went out, retired after winning the U.S. Open in his last match, but Pete, as great as he was, never commanded the electric crowd support that Serena does. I don't know where this is going. I think it was interesting to see the atmosphere last night. They were beginning to cheer Konovate's faults, and they were beginning to boo electronic line calls, which can't be overturned. Serena raises one finger. Nope, stop it. And they just got quiet. The command that she has over the crowd. She didn't want any unsportsmanlike behavior by the crowd toward her opponent. She didn't tolerate that.
Amazing. Chris Fowler here on the Rich Eisen Show. So are you in New York now? Are you going to call that Friday, or you're heading off to?
No, I'm calling the Niles match tonight against Vanini, which is the nightcap, taking a nap, and then getting on a plane to Columbus. I mean, Notre Dame, Ohio State is a monster game. Very excited for that. It's the ABC opener. So do not want to miss that, even for tennis. I'll be watching Serena on Friday, hoping that she can get through one more so I can come back on Sunday and we can keep the story going. But no, I'm hyped for this football game. It's the odds makers say the Buckeyes are going to win in a blowout, but it's who knows? And it's Notre Dame, Ohio State in the same field on a campus, which is very cool.
Yeah. So walk me through, break down your Saturday gig for me with Notre Dame at the Ohio State. And
Buckeyes, as you know, had a bad taste in their mouth the way the last season ended. I mean, the big house meltdown there has colored the entire offseason. That's been the fuel for them. They did win the Rose Bowl in a shootout, and screening that game right now against Utah, fun one to watch when they prevailed despite being shorthanded. But that didn't do much to lessen the pain of losing to Michigan, and that's driven them. And they've obviously got C.J. Stroud and Smith and Jigba and Trevion Henderson. They've got kind of a triplets like the vintage Cowboys have that you rarely see in college football. And I think that the defense is going to be good enough because Ohio State could flirt with 50 points per game on offense this year. And it's a serious challenge for Notre Dame's defense, which has Al Golden coming in as the new defensive coordinator. They're a pretty experienced group, but they're going to have their hands full stopping Stroud and company. And I think that Notre Dame's chance is to try to score with Ohio State if they can. Shorten the game, run the ball, but they're going to have to score points to have any chance to hang with them. Well, and I spoke to Marcus Freeman a couple months ago. I was, talking to him about how interesting it is that his first game as a regular season head coach for Notre Dame is going to be against his alma mater in his old spot in the Horseshoe. Have you spoken to him about that? Because he didn't really want to talk much about it months ago. I wonder how he is now on the cusp of it. Chris. Funny you should ask that, Rich. Well, he's the first guest of the podcast, season 5. So the Marcus Freeman episode happens to be up on the Fowler Who You Got on all podcast platforms. Good timing for the promo there. Unintended, but I appreciate it.
All good.
We didn't speak a ton about the X's and O's. It's more about getting to know Freeman. His background's interesting. I covered him when he was an Ohio State linebacker. Really, really good player, and had his career, his brief attempt at the NFL cut short by an injury, and then got into coaching. And listen, he's an unusual hire, okay? 1 year at Notre Dame as the defensive coordinator, inherits the job when Brian Kelly leaves, and the psyche is wounded, and the players demand that he be given a chance, and they hire him. And he coached in the bowl game, which was a loss to Oklahoma State. But as you said, now the real tenure begins as a head coach with the toughest possible assignment. I think he's not shying away from predicting Notre Dame will win a national championship in the coming years. He's been pretty bold. I don't recall Kelly talking about that. He stepped out there. The players are talking about it. They're not paying attention to the fact that no one's giving him a chance. But Freeman has recruited extremely well. Whether or not this is a special team, remains to be seen. But yeah, he's a kind of guy, when you hear his background, you certainly root for him. Father of 6 kids. He and his wife are raising 6 kids. Well, he's taken on the massive responsibility at 36. There'll be a lot of eyes on him. He's tried to deflect it, as you do in that situation, but eager to see, how he navigates the adversity, because they'll face adversity on Saturday night for sure.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Chris. You know me. I don't know who to root for or against in this game. I'm going to be very conflicted this entire time. The two teams that I would love for.
Are in the same camp on that one.
Honestly, if there is a sinkhole that could open up and swallow both organizations, I don't know. I might obviously wonder and be concerned of their physical well-being, but other than that,
I'm going to hope that a sinkhole doesn't swallow me up and everybody else with it at the
That's
Ohio
true.
Stadium.
That's true. Because that is just a fascinating spot. What do you think, Chris Fowler, of the fact that I'm sitting in Big Ten country in Los Angeles? What do you think of that one, Chris?
Yeah, that broke when I was over in Europe, and I started getting a bunch of messages. I didn't know how to process it. You were in Italy. I was definitely out of the loop and off the grid, and trying to process that on a number of different levels. There's the football piece, which makes more sense than the other pieces. Obviously, as a Colorado graduate, I'm a little concerned about the rest of the Pac-12 and what that means going forward. To sit and whine about the erosion of traditions and talk about nostalgia is pointless. in this sport. There's a lot of people who think the sport has totally lost its way, and that people who are allegedly trying to lead it have lost their way. I don't spend a ton of bandwidth on that because, I'm there to call the game that's in front of me. I do think it's intriguing. I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that USC going to the Big House or the Horseshoe or these Big Ten teams playing regular season games out at the Rose Bowl, the Coliseum. That's cool. That's intriguing to me. Makes no sense in the other sports besides football, but football dominates. It's about dollars. We know that. It's a couple of years before it's going to happen, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and sound like a cranky old man about the traditions of the sport. It is what it is, and it's not going to change. It's going to accelerate.
Chris, I think you're going to wind up calling 3, if not 4, college football playoff games in a year during your career. I think that's going to happen. I think you're going to end up calling what's going to be the equivalent of the Super Bowl in college football. I think that's the way this is going. I've spoken to Greg Sankey. We've got a standing invitation to Mr. Warren of the Big Ten as well. I think.
You think we have a Super Bowl now, though? Wouldn't you call?
We do.
Playoff game? I mean, it's a smaller bracket.
That's what it is. But what the reason why I'm terming it that here is because we're going to have 2 conferences of about 16, if not 16, then maybe 20 or 24 teams each, and that's why you should be concerned for Colorado, because there is going to be a bunch of terrific programs like the ones that you've rooted for because you went there. They might not have a seat at the table, or they might be needing to come out of relegation to get into whatever conference. I really think that's the way this is going. It may take years for that to happen, but I think the worldwide leader will be at the forefront of it.
Whether it's 8 or 12 or 16. I mean that's the only question. It's going to be expanded at the end of this current cycle, which means there's a few more years of it. But that's inevitable. I hope you're right. I hope if it expands, we continue to have a dominant position. But I think you have to consider 2 things. One, are you just going to keep adding games on to the end of the season and another layer and another layer? It's 15 games for the 2 teams that are playing in the championship game now. If you expand that, what is it going to be, game 17? I mean, if you're a player, you damn sure better think about coming after some of that money and not being content with NIL. If you're going to expand the playoff, it means a lot more money. It means. Listen, we've seen, Rich, serious injuries at the end of the football season. That's inevitable. It's a part of the game. We get that, but you see, it feels to me like a disproportionate number of serious injuries, late in the season. And people who are experts in this would tell you, the wear and tear, the fatigue, the intensity of these games all contribute to that. And I have my concerns. I mean, if you want to eliminate a regular season game, if you want to eliminate the conference championship games and pare down that piece of it at the same time you expand the playoff, okay, that's a different equation. That makes more sense to me. If you're just going to add on games at the end of the season, another layer and another layer, and you're doing it for money under the veil of inclusion, which I think is a noble cause. Inclusion is great. Are you going to end up with any different 4 teams once you play it down to the semis than you have now? That's the question you have to answer, because this sport is more top-heavy than it's ever been. It's more top-heavy than any sport except maybe the English Premier League, and even that's opened up more. And the same teams are there all the time, and that's the problem. That's what's constricting the growth of the sport's popularity. It'll be cool to have more teams in playoff contention down the stretch, but if you go to an expanded format and you end up with Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, I mean the same teams in the semis, what have you really accomplished? You're not changing who wins the championship. You're just throwing another layer of playoffs in so teams can say, hey, we made the playoff.
Maybe so. I don't know. And it's interesting you say that, players should want a piece of that money. It's more than just the NIL. You're right. I mean, if you take a look at the annual television packages, the Big Ten package that just got sold is right next to Major League Baseball's on the annual, over $1 billion. That's professional sports. That's it. I mean, at some point you have to call it what it is or what it looks like. But in the meantime, though, I mean, games like Saturdays, I'm in. I am so in. I will be watching, and I can't wait to. Is it you and Herb Street as well?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And Holly Rowe. I mean, it's cool because you got that game. You got Oregon taking a challenge of playing in the Dogs' backyard in Atlanta. That's a really cool afternoon sort of special game. You got Utah and Florida, which is intriguing because a lot of people think Utah is a playoff team this year, and clearly the best in the Pac-12 again. So it's pretty damn good for an opening weekend, and I'm very cool that we get to have the game in Columbus in prime time.
Yeah, at Florida State against Brian Kelly's new family.
Yep.
We got that one
on Sunday. That's a big weekend.
It's a good one. Okay, very good. I got that one in there. So Fowler, who you got? It's got Marcus Freeman as the first guest. Who else you got?
Got Johnny Mack coming up, but we just taped it. John, we've been working on him a long time. It's not really about kind of like the best tennis stuff. We talk a lot about his guitar playing and all these guys in bands that he knows with, jamming with Pearl Jam and the Eagles, and the whole history of all the personalities that gravitate toward the Johnny Mack experience and that he connects with is what we spend a lot of time talking about. Michael Simon, who's a buddy of mine, a chef, Iron Chef, and the Chew, he's week 2. So thank you for the plug. Of course, you know how fun it is to talk with different folks, and I learn something every single episode.
Fowler, who you got? Where all podcasts can be acquired. All right, so it's Nadal tonight, then a flight, then a game of Notre Dame and Ohio State, and potentially Serena on Sunday. If she wins, you go back. You're out. You go.
I like the way I'm going to save the Open for throughout week 2. Yeah, I don't do the second college football week because I love to stay and do all of the semis and the finals. So I like the way you laid that out. It gets me. That's exciting.
It is, man. It's a hell of a week. It's like that's why you lift all them scripts. You know, I mean, like that's it. This is great. I can't wait.
You have your two favorite sports collide, for 2 weeks, and it is in the city where you've lived a long time. And as you talked about the energy, I mean, I'd be an idiot to let 1 minute of this go by without being grateful and present and just appreciative.
You're the man, and you're great at it too, Chris. Best to Jennifer. You be well, sir. You take care.
Attitude. Thanks, Rick.
There you go. There's Chris Fowler, everybody. At CB Fowler on Twitter. I follow him. You should as well. And Fowler, who you got? Marcus Freeman, then John McEnroe. I'll never forget John McEnroe and I called a match, one U.S. Open on CBS. Out there on the in the grandstand of the U.S. Open, what a spot that is. It's Ash, and then right next to Ash is Louis Armstrong, which used to be the center court.
Right.
Now it's court 2, and then the grandstand. You got the outer courts, but the grandstand is like the Cameron Indoor of tennis, where it's just one side of this of the court are fans, and the other side is like the 6 train, I think, is on the other side of it, right? Yeah. Or that's a 6 train, the other side. And then the 7 train out to, is that the 7? Whatever the one that John Rocker was on. That's the one.
I think it's the 6.
Okay.
I think it's 6.
All right. And so,
6, yeah.
And then on either end of the court, there's just a small amount of fans high up. All right. And high up was where I did the match. You're not center court on the grandstand. The booth is on an end. Mm-hmm. And they sent me out there because the match was heading towards a 5th set, and it was way better than whoever, I think Agassi or Lindsay Davenport at the time, was blowing out.
I think she won that year.
And so it was me and McEnroe. They took McEnroe out of Ash and stuck me with him out in the grandstand, and I called the 5th set tiebreak of, I believe it was Yuri Novak and Eunice Elanawi.
Ooh, rich.
Jeez.
I believe that's what it was. I'm trying to remember if that was the matchup. And I just remember they're like, get out there to the grandstand. That's where I read the wrong, I messed with my producer, Bob Monsbach, doing the Pat Summerall Manhattan read over the blimp shot. And at any rate, very long story short, McEnroe arrives after I started calling the first few points without him. First tennis I'd ever called live in my life. Dream come true. I'm at the grandstand of the U.S. Open in my hometown. Yes, Staten Island is New York City as much as Queens is. And did I get the matchup right? Are you looking it up? I don't know if it was, you can't. I did the Open for 3 years. I think it was my first year, which is probably 03.
03 was you, because that was the year I was there.
Yeah, you were doing it with Barkan
I
on
was
USA,
walking around
right?
with Barkan on USA. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I was doing the U.S. Open late night highlight show, but on the weekends of Labor Day weekend, this upcoming weekend, I would sit around and I called a match if it went to a fifth set in the grandstand and if CBS was willing to take that match. And they did. They were, and it was me. And McEnroe shows up. And I think he said it on the air and not in a commercial break. He goes, what is the guy on I Love the 90s, 80s, and 70s doing and calling a tennis match? Is what he said to me.
What was the matchup again?
Meaning the VH1 show that I was
great shows
on.
What was the matchup
What's the guy
again?
on I Love the 80s and 90s doing here with me? I think he said it on the air even. And I knew that's when I was accepted by McEnroe, that he was busting my balls like that. It might have been whatever the middle weekend was. Eunice Elanawi. And I think it was Yuri Novak. I think that's who it was. Let's take a break. We'll have that information for you. I know you're all on the edge of your seats. We'll have that information for you right here on our YouTube stream, including Chris Brockman's latest burning questions about NFL teams when we come back. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Good to see you, gentlemen, right here.
Very much. Very much good to see you, too, Rich.
Yeah, right back at you.
Yeah.
Great to see everyone. Not just you, Rich.
I have a friend who, when he sees someone coming towards him, like in a room that he's supposed to know, he can tell I'm supposed to know this person, but I don't. He goes, there he is. There he is.
How are you as a ref, though?
Strictly what's called an AR, assistant referee. So I'm the guy who runs on the sideline with the flag
I thought AR meant whole ref.
Well, that's what.
The shorts are pretty short, too. I mean, they're
short,
stocked in length right there.
Look at that ample thigh.
That's a ham hock right there.
Look at that. That's ready for market.
So
you might want to smoke that for a couple days.
You guys want a slice?
Put some hickory around it. You know what I would genuinely love for you as a second career, if you ever decided you wanted a second career? Finally be a broadcaster. Be someone who's calling color. Right?
Rich, maybe you could give me a break.
I mean, that would boost ratings for whatever sport you were talking about.
What if I took over the Rich Eisen show?
Yes.
Ron Burgundy did help announce the National Curling Finals in Ottawa, Canada. And they had all these ads for Tim Hortons Coffee, which is a big coffee chain for our Canadian listeners. And I just kept saying, all the signage, I'm like, who the hell is Tim Horton? Who does he think he is?
Is there any possibility that we see a Step Brothers sequel?
We haven't never talked about this face-to-face in public.
No, we haven't.
So let's break some ground here. Are we going to do Step Brothers too?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Put up the Photoshop anyway.
Oh, you make sense in that world somehow, Rich.
Back here on the Rich Eisen Show, terrestrial radio outfit NetSuite wants to know if you know your numbers in your business, because if you don't, you've got a poor visibility that could be very dangerous, certainly in these uncertain times in 2022. But not every business is in the dark about their numbers, because over 31,000 businesses know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, which is the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, planning, budgeting, and, of course, inventory. So you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need all in one place. In 2022, profit's the new growth. So NetSuite helps you identify rising costs, automate your annual manual business processes, and see where to save your money. Know your numbers, know your business, and get to know how NetSuite can be the source of truth for your entire company. And right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/richradio right now. netsuite.com/richradio. netsuite.com/richradio. Here on the program. Did I get it right, Chris? What did I get?
You did, Rich.
Going to break, talking about my U.S. Open.
Third round, I can't pronounce the...
Yunus Elanawi.
That guy.
I believe he was an Egyptian tennis player, if I'm not mistaken.
And then he's Moroccan.
Moroccan. Okay, close enough. Same right continent, wrong pew.
And then Novak. Yeah, they went 5 sets. Do you remember who won?
I believe Novak won, correct? No, it was Yunus.
Novak was up 2-1, and the other guy, the Moroccan dude,
he
won the last 2 sets. 5th set tiebreaker, 7-5.
The only reason why it was easy for me to remember his name at the time and whatever is, there's that World's Fairgrounds that's outside of the tennis center. That anybody who ever saw Men in Black, that was the end scene where the spaceship took off from the World's Fairgrounds there. And there's a globe that's there for the World's Fair, and it's referred to as the Unisphere. So we would show the Unisphere when Yunus Elanawi was playing. It's just part of the turns of the phrase.
Nice.
That I guess put me on the radar screen of CBS Sports once ESPN said, see ya. And that's why I wound up doing the U.S. Open for 3 years. And then NFL Network started covering the NFL more intensely at the beginning of seasons over and over again. So when I left for my 3rd year of going to call games and events for the U.S. Open, Steve Bornstein, the head of NFL Network, said, enjoy your farewell to Flushing, buddy boy. That's how he sent me out there for...
Eunice lost into the quarterfinals that year.
I wasn't calling that. That's when things... Quarterfinals was Dick Enberg territory. Ooh, I only had a cup of coffee on... I was in case of emergency. Whenever a match might go 5 sets on a court other than Ash, I was on call. Like, get out there. So,
2003, the only Grand Slam title for Andy Roddick.
That's right.
Wow.
Beat Juan Carlos Ferrero that year.
That's right. All right, Christopher, are you ready for your latest burning question?
Brockman's burning questions.
That's the fire. Very good. So you are ranking all NFL teams 32 up to 1. You did 32 to 26 yesterday. Now you're doing 25 to 20.
25 to 21, Rich.
25 to 21. 5 a day, all the way up until Toe Meets Ball next Thursday, a week from today. Christopher, you have the floor.
All right, Rich. Pay close attention during this 5 because...
The Jets are in it?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, number 25, the Washington Commanders. My burning question for these guys is pretty simple. How soon will Riverboat Ron turn to Sam Howell? That's it.
You could say, how will Carson Wentz fare in potentially his last foray as a starting quarterback in the NFL?
I assume that he's going to fail. I mean, that's sad.
Wow.
It's very super pessimistic.
Damn.
But he's 0 for his last 2. You know what I mean? Since he had an MVP-type season before blowing out his knee out here in Los Angeles, and now he's 0 for 2. So how soon will Ron turn to Sam Howell? Because it's going to happen.
Carson Wentz back in the NFC East. Carson Wentz, after the Indianapolis Colts told him, thanks for the memories. One and done him after they traded for him from Philadelphia. Man, Chase Young not being able to start the season healthy is absolutely crushing for that team.
Yeah, that's huge.
But good news is Brian Robinson made the 53-man roster, so it looks like whatever happened in his carjacking will not knock him out for this season. So, but it is a Carson Wentz equation. And does 2 + 2 equal 4 or 2 + whatever equal Howell? That's the burning question. What else, Chris? Number 24?
All right, number 24, the Carolina Panthers. Now, could go in many directions when talking about this team. I could look at the health of Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, he's very important. Baker Mayfield, new spot, obviously. But look, I think it comes down to the head coach for me. How will Matt Rule handle the hot seat? Because he is definitely, without question, on the hot seat. He's got an owner who wants to win, and he wants to win yesterday. And so if this is now going to go south once more for Matt Rule, how will he handle that? If things do go in that direction, can he basically... he's coaching for his job, so that's basically my point.
Well, I guess the burning question that I would have plays into that is how will Baker Mayfield fare in his second act in Carolina? And will he perform so well there that that's going to be his team moving forward? Is Carolina going to be his future home because he performs so well this year? But to me, the most burning question for that team, and again, it does play into how hot Matt Rule's seat could be, does Christian McCaffrey stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? Will he stay healthy? That's the question. Because if he goes out again and it's my man Chuba Hubbard, again, that gets the run there, and now I think things go south, because as well as Baker Mayfield might play and as much of the hold of the locker room he might take and whatever leadership skills he does put on display at the rest of the locker room buys, I mean, McCaffrey gets hurt, that whole thing I think is just another non-playoff season in Carolina. That's the burning question for me there.
Going down to 23, TJ, we talked about this back in April. Who won the first round of the NFL draft?
Oh, boy. All right, get to your Jets burning question. Go ahead.
I'm going to say either the Eagles or the Jets.
Yeah, so number 23 on my list is the New York Jets. It's pretty simple, Rich. Will the talent all over the field translate to wins?
That's it.
Really how it is.
I guess. And heaven
because there is talent everywhere on this roster.
And this was respectful. I think you thought you were going to go at him.
No, I didn't.
I'm
didn't
totally
think
not
that
going
at all.
at you.
I didn't think that at all. And I think that is a great question.
Yeah.
Will the talent all over the field translate to wins? The talent over the field also includes their quarterback. Can he? I don't know.
And the head coach.
Yeah.
Head coach is very talented as well. So
Yeah.
that's just what I'm wondering. Because,
I think that is a spot-on burning question about the New York Jets. Will it translate to wins? And I am so not excited to see Joe Flacco week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens at all. I think they're going to eat him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and spit him out. I saw that horrible interception he threw in the preseason at the end of the... It's just like, come on, man. I mean, you're in there instead of Mike White to avoid throws exactly like that. You're supposed to be the vet who throws it away, but maybe it's just a preseason game, and I'll chalk it up to that. What's your next burning question?
Next is not too far off in this division, Rich. The New England Patriots at 22. And it's very simple. We've been talking about it for months and months with everyone who comes on. It's just, will this offense be able to score about 24 points a game to give the defense a chance? Are they going to be able to just put some points on the board? Because the defense should be, again, at the upper half of the league. And it's just, can the offense keep pace?
My question for you is 22, huh? You think the Patriots are that low on the list?
I think when I just look at the roster and the new coaches and all everything that's kind of going on with them, I think 22 is about right.
Damn,
they have
man.
pretty long Super Bowl odds. I mean, they're down there 40-1, so it's not like Vegas thinks that they're among contenders. So I just think every team that I'm going to have ahead of them would beat them straight up in a game.
Okay.
Yeah. And number 21, I have the New Orleans Saints. We know Jameis is back. Chris Olave in the draft. Alvin Kamara. They've got weapons all over the place. But I'm looking at Michael Thomas. Is Michael Thomas, we haven't seen him in 2 years. Is he going to have the same chemistry with Jameis that he had with Drew Brees? I think that's going to be the key to kind of unlocking this offense. And if Jameis is going to be the long-term guy there, is he going to have a great season? Is he going to build off the, what he did to start last year before he got injured? He's going to need he can't guard Mike. And so are they going to have that chemistry?
I absolutely understand why you would want to focus on a player of Michael Thomas's caliber coming off of an injury and how his ability to return to form is a key for the team, which it absolutely is. And Jameis at the quarterback, he can have a much better season to have Michael Thomas can't guard Mike back. But for me, the burning question of the New Orleans Saints is, what does this team look like post Sean Payton? We've known one version of the New Orleans Saints since 2006. One version, and that's the one coached by Sean Payton, where he's just rolling dice and he is brash and he is leading his team from the offensive side of the ball on the field. And now you've got a coach who's a defensive-minded guy. I mean, Cam Jordan came on a couple weeks ago, and I asked what's the difference. He goes, well, when the defense wins a play in practice, we don't run it again. When I asked him what the difference is between Dennis Allen and Sean Payton.
That's so funny.
That's what he basically said. It's just like, okay, we can move on. It's opposed to run it again. How does that all play out in game, outside of game, after losses, leading into a week off a win, all of that? I'm just keen to see it because we haven't seen it since 2006. That's just one way we've known it. All right. Burning questions.
There you go.
Well done.
There you go.
Nicely done. The Saints down at 21. They were number 2 on my top 5 sleeper team list.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams in the league this year, man. There's a lot of good teams.
All right, man.
I'll tell you what, man.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back here on the Rich Eisen Show, Ohtani homered, Judge didn't. Ohtani won the game last night with a homer, Judge didn't. So, and the Angels took 2 or 3 over the Yankees. So Ohtani's the MVP, Judge isn't. I gotta say something about that. That's next on the Rich Eisen Show. Sound the trumpets! I'm coming out of the pen, Timmy. All right. So we got about 2 minutes here, right? Got about 2 minutes here?
Yeah, a couple minutes.
I don't even know.
Okay. I'm wearing
No,
Birkenstocks.
please, God, no.
I'm wearing
No.
Birkenstocks. I'm wearing Birkenstocks.
No.
And they're very,
What is
very
happening?
fashionable.
What is happening?
And I don't get your hate. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
What's the matter with me coming in here and wearing open-toed Birkenstocks? They're very, very, very fashionable.
But
And they look good.
Are we playing?
What?
With jeans though? Like,
what's the matter?
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
we don't.
Thank you.
We don't live in Colorado.
Are we playing hacky sack after the show, or
hacky sack has been called?
What were they really thinking?
Are these the first time you ever worn those?
Here, yeah. I
But
got them last week.
Okay, because they look very new.
They are
Yep.
very comfortable.
Yep.
They support the arch.
oh no,
Very comfortable. They're not flat.
Everybody loves them.
They're incredible.
everybody?
Yes.
I know.
People line up around the corner for these things.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who wear them. But they're not for me, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the toes hanging out, but
They're not hanging out.
Men shouldn't have their toes out.
I just needed to run out of the house. I didn't want to put on socks and shoes. I just grabbed these and came here and didn't think I would receive the scorn of my
You had
friends.
to
Hold on a
know that.
second.
How could you not
scorn? You
I
didn't
received
think,
scorn.
but you didn't think we'd say anything?
you've
Received
met us.
scorn.
How could you possibly think that was going to slide
You didn't think anyone would say anything?
No, I didn't.
between me and Chris?
Also, for the record, it wasn't me.
I think I just hosted peace.
Well, it was you that brought it up
I
to
brought it up on
the
the air.
national
Back here on our
audience.
terrestrial radio
No, I
outfit,
just asked
talking
if you
about
were
my
gonna show
open-toed
Fowler.
shoe choice today.
I mean, we got people in Paris watching us, man.
I
Looking
think
at
the
your
phone
toes.
lines are lighting up because you showed your feet.
They are
Here
not.
we go. Come on, push it out. Everything you got. Everything you got.
Truly. All right, while we're on the subject of something here that's
can't
upsetting me
recover from
greatly, upsetting me greatly.
I can't believe you did that.
Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball.
Yeah.
The guy can shut you out one night
Really good.
and provide his own run support while doing so. He is a unicorn. That does not make him the most valuable player in the Major League Baseball circuit.
Welcome to my side of the argument.
It
finally,
does
Rich.
not.
He's the most outstanding player.
It does not.
He's not the most valuable.
I thought he was incredible last year, and I would have voted for him last year as well because we hadn't seen what he did before. And it deserved that last year, and I know Vlad deserved it. But Vlad, dude, the most valuable players last year for the American League were all on teams that weren't going to make the playoffs. So if we're all in on that, then go ahead and give it to the guy who can pitch and hit. Just because Ohtani hit his 30th home run last night and beat the Yankees on a 3-run shot, taking Garrett Cole yard, and Judge didn't, does not mean that makes him above Judge the most valuable player. I'm sorry. The Yankees are making the playoffs. Heaven forbid they don't make it as the division winner, which is entirely possible now because they just had their worst month of baseball since Stump freaking Merrill in 91.
I know. That's crazy.
Okay? That they were the first team to 70 wins. They don't even have 80 right now. They had 9 wins in August. Terrible. They are blowing their lead. They're only 5 up in the loss on the Rays, who they visit for 3 this weekend. But the Yankees are making the playoffs. And the reason why they're even here is because of Aaron Judge, who is the most valuable player in the American League, period, end of story, full stop. Full stop.
Agreed.
Hammer time.
And while we're on the subject of Aaron Judge and things that piss me off.
Here we go. Here we go.
The whole thing that Yankees didn't sign him. Yankees left him unsigned going into the year, which means he's so upset at the Yankees, so angry at him that he's leading them where they're leading him, and he's the darling of the fan base, and he's the darling of that locker room.
Better be the darling
You're seeing everybody thinking Judge is going to come to us. The Yankees are going to lose Aaron Judge. Hey, Met fans, enjoy your trumpets and your polar bear and your DeGrom and all of that stuff because it is delightful and it is great. But hey, schmucko, who takes your hard-earned money and puts a Judge name on the back of a Met jersey and shows up to a game. Schmucko. Schmuck on wheels, to use the phrase of Maury the Wigman from Goodfellas.
What if his last name's Judge? You don't know, man.
Mason Schmucko. You're not getting him. He ain't coming. You're not getting him. Steve Cohen might have more money than God. You're not getting him.
Not happening.
Told you, we're holding out for Ohtani. Okay, you can keep Judge.
Fine. You can take him.
Oh, please, we will.
You're not getting Aaron Judge. Apparently there's multiple Met fans wearing Judge. Imagine, you've got Alonso. Yeah. You've got Diaz. You've got DeGrom. You've got Scherzer. Yeah. McNeil may be their best hitter.
He is.
Okay.
Really good.
Marte is delightful.
Marte's the man.
All of a sudden,
if you're going to spend $2 bills on the jersey.
Thumbs up on Lindor. You got many options. Vogelback is like
He's the king.
He is a walking cartoon.
The American dream.
He is a fire hydrant with arms.
He's like a baseball Frank Pollard.
Right. He's like taking an eye black from his nose to the back of his earlobe.
I don't get that.
Running around. You should see it. Do you see the way he puts on eye black?
Did. I thought, okay, that my mistake.
Honestly. He puts on eye black to a point where John Randall's saying, what's he doing?
John Randall.
Yeah. So many options of your own. Stay out of my backyard. Judge ain't coming. Oh, Mr. Steve Cohen's going to pay all that money just because suddenly your owner isn't in debt up to his eyeballs.
Swindled also.
Swindled and up to the debt in his eyeballs, all of that.
Yeah.
Suddenly everybody's in play for Met fans, like the nouveau riche. And to that point, Yankees. Did you see this? The Yankees bought a piece of AC Milan. Did you see that?
Yes.
Oh, it's like LeBron and Drake?
AC Milan. The Yankees bought a piece of AC Milan for $1.2 billion. Don't tell me you don't have the money to make sure Judge winds up anywhere.
That's why he's going to leave, right
but
there.
Your own locker room.
They could have paid him, and they'd rather buy a soccer
enough.
squad.
He's the MVP. He will be a Yankee for life. He ain't going to be a Met. Mason Schmuck on wheels. Can you imagine you take your hard-earned money and with all these incredible Mets for you to root for, and you're going to show up to try and troll Yankee fans in your own backyard? Just enjoy the trumpets and get a regular jersey.
I would say your reaction to this is probably worth the $220 that he spent on that jersey.
I guess Mason's the one who put the photo out. Might not be the name of that Schmuck on wheels.
Yeah, Mason took the picture.
Yeah.
Maury the Wigman, I think, was from Queens, right?
Yes,
Wasn't he?
he was in Queens.
Yeah. Maury the Wigman might have been a Met fan.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yep.
Maury was rooting for Ed Kranepool.
I would say
Dave Kingman.
Yeah.
All right.
Rusty Staub.
I've said my
Rusty
piece.
Staub.
That photo enraged me so.
That's why I tweeted you immediately when I saw it.
Man, look at that. Look at this dude. Look at that showing up. At least the other guy's got a Canada jersey. Okay, that's another Met to root for.
And there's a Lindor right in front.
Very good. Judge, 99 Met jersey. What are you thinking?
He's thinking, how could I get on the Rich Eisen show?
Well,
and make
you
him
made
very
it.
angry?
You made it. Congratulations.
What are you smoking, bro? Give me some.
Thank you.
Puff, puff, pass.
This is great.
All right, Al in Dallas. I got about 30 seconds for you. I knew that my feet would get you calling. And what's up, Al? What do you got?
Who let them dogs out?
That's me. Yes. A nice Met reference, too. Nice Baja Men Mets reference. Nicely done.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, sir.
John Rocco would love to see you on a 7 train with those on. I can tell you that. Right
I would never wear them on a 7 train. Al, it was for convenience and comfort, not for the scorn of my friends.
There's a lot of things for convenience and comfort. Doesn't mean we need to walk out of the house with them.
True knocking.
You know?
All right, Al. Thanks.
Judge is the MVP, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
You know,
I'm sorry. I got to you at the very end of the show. Thanks for the call, Al. There you go. That's Al in Dallas.
Amazing.
Oh, my God. All I got to do is show my feet in the phone line's
I
light.
told you.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart is on Friday's edition of The Rich Eisen Show and more. Stay tuned for that on Friday. Still here. Tom in Washington, we'll take your call. What's up, Tom?
Hey, eyes, Rich.
What's up?
My eyes.
What?
Hey.
I got
I'm
a
an Indiana alum.
Tom.
We're in Big Ten country now.
Tom,
you cannot disrespect
Yeah.
the Big Ten by sticking your Birkenstock-clad feet on top of the desk. That's going to visit so much bad karma on the Big Ten and Michigan now.
I don't think so. I don't think so. You know what, Tom? I've got a very nice pedicure. I did this the right way. I did it all by the book. Okay? I did. I didn't show up with my feet like all sort of unwashed and ugly. They're very, very nice looking feet. I mean, I've already gotten a call.
Wow.
Hold on a minute. Rex in New York. You're on the Rich Eisen Show. No, he didn't call. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. There we go. All right, I'm going to show up in regular shoes tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
Thank God.
Well,
Thank
your
goodness.
old dad Hokas?
Old dad Hokas. By the way, Hokas are not only fashionable, but you're the one who got up out of your seat. Oh my God, I've been sitting around so long. It's not easy. It's not easy.
I know.
Suddenly I'm wearing Hokas and pickleball, and this... All right.
You can swear on YouTube, Rich. Curse at him.
By the way, everyone's calling right now. Should we just take the rest
Let's
of
take
these?
this call real quick.
We don't have any more minutes.
Everybody's calling.
By the way, do we have to be off at 12? I mean,
Well, we
do. No, we're testing. We got
stuff going on this afternoon.
Can you dig it?
I can dig it. All right. That's it for this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. We'll see you on Friday.